As I'm sure you guys have heard, there has been some massive drama in the VTuber industry. It's a little bit old by this point. I think it's about 3 or 4 days old. It happened this weekend. I was out of town, so I wasn't able to immediately cover it. Apparently, Sinder has went off the deep end, stabbed a lot of people in the back, gate kept a lot of artists from the community, and our old buddy Mujin, yes, the Mr. Mujin, created a 2-hour-long video on it. And so I figured we'd sit down and watch it. He probably has all the facts and everything in a clear and concise order, as opposed to going up and digging up everything. So let's take a look. Obviously, I'll link the video below so you guys can go watch it on your own accord. Let's go take a peek.
For months, 2025 has officially had its first apocalyptic level VTuber drama that has caused an industry-wide disaster. This is about one of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet and how for years, while pretending to be her friend, tried to take away opportunities and suppress the success of an even bigger independent VTuber by the name of Bao. This all started when a very well-renowned artist within the VTuber community published this document titled Terminating My Work with Sinder. This document is such a bombshell filled to the brim with proof that it's currently sitting at almost 3 million views, and it hasn't even been
3 million views is wild.
That artist wasn't the only one. There are multiple documents with a lot of proof published by multiple people, including Bao, who usually stays away from drama. And as time goes on, more and more people are coming out with their side of the story. You have to
It feels like it was like a dozen people at this point.
This involves multiple very successful VTubers being backstabbed by that person. And that is barely scraping the surface here. Not to mention that her apology was one of the worst I've seen in recent memory.
It was really
to say
bad.
that this is apocalyptic is an understatement. The entire VTuber community is shook to its core. So what the hell is going on?
10 or 15
well,
docs,
you already know the drill. Let's talk.
I will say Mujin is 100% right here. I think this will legitimately be the biggest bombshell in the VTubing industry in the next 5 years. Unless something insane happens, I don't think anything is going to top the significance and the impact that this had on the VTubing space.
So as I mentioned, the VTuber at the center of this controversy is Sinder, but she didn't always go by that name. She actually started off in 2020 as a YouTuber by the name of Tashi.mp3.
I did not know this.
Different ASMR RP videos, like "You're such a good boy for me" ASMR RP.
I did not know this.
Later,
okay.
On June 2021, she would create her Twitch channel under the name of Sinder and would start streaming. During that time, she would build herself a small community of people. But the real turning point for her was a year later, on June 2022, when she would officially do her model debut. The whole thing was a resounding success, and people fell in love with her model almost instantly. At the time, very few models looked like it, and it was seen.
Can we talk about I love her model, right? Don't get me wrong. Her model rocks, but the booba, is that's too much, guys. This is too much. That's a little too much.
Seen as innovative, unique even. Not to mention that it had 2 very big reasons to keep your attention, I guess. During her debut, she would spend close to an
It's realistic. Guys, if you think real tits look like this, her model's accurate to IRL. You guys know like real tits don't look like that, right? They're big, her tits are big, but real tits don't look like that, guys. Have you seen her IRL clips? Yes. Yes. Real tits do not look like this. This is not how tits sit on the chest. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
an hour showing off her model and the different features that it came with. After her debut, she would get a lot of traction. People really liked her model and her personality. Nanolist was also able to gain some of this traction because she was behind the design of her model. This allowed her to start receiving many commissions from other VTubers who wanted a similar style. And as you can see from how many
they look like that in the cosplay, I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna blow your mind. You can make anything look like anything in cosplay and makeup, right? With enough cosplay and makeup, you can make. I can have those. I could have those boobies in cosplay and makeup, guys.
Followers she had in 2023, she was also able to grow exponentially. Sinder would understand that one of the things people loved about her was the design behind her model, so she stuck with Nano. And
I could look like this in cosplay.
Now look, when it comes to VTuber models and VTuber outfits, this costs a lot of money. We're talking thousands of dollars. The fact that she was able to do this every few months already showed the resounding success that she found in content creation. Her average view count on Twitch was unstoppable, reaching thousands of concurrent viewers today,
that's great.
making her as the 471st watched content creator on the entirety of Twitch. Part of the reason of that growth was
you
that
say
she was
proof,
able to
huh?
be part of the VTuber friend group that included the biggest indie VTubers on the planet. She was seen as a dear friend, and as far as the others knew, that's
you
how
could
he
see
saw
your
them too.
proof.
Always
You could get your proof
of their tier lists or whatever other challenges they do.
You can get your proof if you care enough.
No bounds. At the beginning of 2025, she announced that she was a partial owner of the company GamerSubs. This is a huge energy drink company that sponsors many of the top VTubers in the world. She even released her own shaker with them, and the art on the shaker, of course, was also made by Nanolist, and it sold out completely.
Okay.
All this to tell you that she was extremely successful. Guys, she was never in any controversy. As far as anyone was concerned, she had a very warm and kind personality.
Yo, Fresh, thank you so much for the tier 1. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It would just take one document to make her entire successful career come crashing down in an instant. But that's exactly what happened. On April 26th, 2025, Nanolist, who at this point had become completely associated
4 days
with
ago,
Sinder's brand, had published this tweet saying, "Hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel like it's necessary."
Really quick, like, shouts out to Nanolist. Like, this must have been so hard and scary for Nanolist to do. Huge W. The fact that Nanolist is the one who was the catalyst to start all this and to really get the ball rolling on showing how much of a piece of shit Sinder is. Huge W to Nanolist.
Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say. Linking a Google Doc with the title, Terminating My Work with Sinder. And in the replies, one could see the biggest independent VTubers on the planet fully and unconditionally supporting Nanolist with this document. So let's take a look. Nano starts off with introduction and notes, saying, I wanted to share my experience with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were my closest friends.
Google Docky!
You know who Sinder is, but who the hell is Red? Well, Red, otherwise known as Redacted, has been Sinder's manager since she started content creation. This has been a well-known fact. If you knew her or worked with her or whatever, you typically did it through Red. He was somehow involved all the time. So this document wasn't just talking about Sinder.
That had to be the one that started taking seriously, 100%.
Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. I struggled a lot with writing this document.
10K for her work, that's fine. That's actually cheap compared to what she could be charging.
Years while working with Sinder. Note, based on working with Redacted and Sinder over the years, that I am sure they speak for each other, and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Sinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting as a team. English not being my first language and the language barrier, I discussed the situation, my feelings and thoughts with native English speakers who helped me put them into words so everything is clear without any misunderstandings due to lack of English skills. Note,
like I know people in my own friend group who have spent 5K on VTuber models, and they're not anywhere near as good as Nano's
She starts off with a section slandering other creators. I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me that it's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. So these are fairly recent DMs from January 2025. It starts off with Nano saying, of course, I wanted to understand it better, especially if I cancel her for the second time, lol. With Redacted saying, well, with Blank, she's given a lot of bias and priority at GS, which is gamer subs, sometimes over Sinder, and we can't really confront them about it, and plus, she's gone 3D lately. Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly picking up artists that we work with. We've gotten to know her better.
The YouTube editor as
really
well?
The wrong way with the things she does. We want to try and
I think her first stream back is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare when she comes back.
That gets in the way of our projects. Also, one of Bao's music video editors is the one that did the Boss Rush music video, and we're 99% sure she told him not to do any more with us. But like model art is the most important thing, that's a VTuber's entire image. Well, we love working with you. Cinder wouldn't be Cinder without Nano. Okay, but like let me tell you the tea about the music video thing. Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor, and the songs flopped. Her editor met us.
I'll show her stream again. No, she'll come back. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Even though she's under this much fire and this much scrutiny, she could come back to streaming right now, literally right now, 4 or 5 days after it happened. She's still going to be a 1K Andy. Legitimately. She'll have a big spike originally while people come to see like what she has to say. But she could still sustain as being a 1K Andy. People are still going to watch her. People don't realize that. Guys, there has been literal pedophiles. There has been literal sexual abusers that do shit, get caught, the concrete proof, and they still come back to streaming and still have an audience. So even though they are, they did something bad, they will still have a career. I promise you there is enough people out there that just watch her for the type of person that she is. Who? Dr. Disrespect is one of them. There's another guy in the VTube, not the VTubing, the VR chat space that, what's his name? I think it started with an A. He was like a fat white guy with like curly hair. He did like that maid cosplay with those women before. Turned out to be like cheating on his wife and like being like a real Arcadium. Was it Arcadum? Yeah, Arcadum. Yeah, it was Arcadum. Arcadum was the guy I'm talking about. Dude like cheated on his wife, like turned out to be like a disgusting piece of shit. Came back and still had like 200-300 viewers on Twitch. Yeah. Moon's situation was much different, though, to be fair. Moon didn't actually cheat on his wife. He was divorced.
Practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. We managed to have him squeeze in the Boss Rush music video between his work with Bao. He says he loved working on it and is super excited to work on the next music video project. The Boss Rush song blows up, and he's credited as the editor. I ask him when he's free to do the next project. All of a sudden, he changes his mind and is only working with Bao going forward. No explanation. Nanolist replies with a panicking emoji, and then Redacted continues. There's some context missing since we know how Bao is behind the scenes, but basically, we don't have a music video editor now for our next Boss Rush project. We think Bao got pissed that her editor did an original song music video for her friends without her knowing and and did 100 times
God, this
better
is
than her original
such
songs last
fucking
year,
high
but she locked
school
him up so
drama
no one else would work
nonsense.
with him. And then had him make it public
I don't
on
want her
Twitter
working
he was
with
only
me
working
because she
going
worked with
forward
someone
like a literal
else.
announcement tweet. And now she's been barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators, so like in you and a Nano model. Nano replies with, yeah, looking for me sounds sus for sure. Redacted says it's so annoying. I don't know, man. She has a way of guilt tripping people to get her way. So these are the DMs from January, and it's already looking kind of bad. Nano continues in the document saying, Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friends, Bao, by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it is okay since she has many connections and she'll be fine anyway, so I wouldn't feel guilty about it or worry too much. It was and is upsetting to me that Red contacted me specifically to check on me canceling the model I had planned with Bao. So these DMs are from August 2024 with Red messaging her saying, did you cancel models? Nano said, I did not. Red replies with, Nano arc delayed to 2026. Nano replies with, I'm scared to cancel with Bao, to which Red says, you shouldn't be. She has so many connections. She'll find someone super fast. Did you already design her outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeebCon, to which Nano says, yeah, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift.
Unreal.
This is so scummy, man.
Yeah.
You have to understand, commissioning a VTuber model is a very lengthy process.
Her translation, no, nothing about Red was saying it's such a bad defense.
If you don't pay extra, it might take a year. If you pay double,
the issue that I have with it, like, we'll talk about her apology later, but all Sinder had to do was like own up to him, be like, yeah, I was in cahoots. I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry. I'm a shitty person. Like, not try to deflect the blame and not try to throw Red under the bus. All she had to do is just admit up to it. Just like, yeah, I'm a ruthless businesswoman. I did some things I'm not ashamed. I'm not proud of. Blame the boyfriend easier. No, she could have put the blame on Red 100%, but it wouldn't have worked out.
Few months, but it takes a while anyway, and finding someone who's both talented and has a free schedule is almost impossible. So this idea of, oh, she has so many connections is very insensitive and scummy.
High school nonsense is 90% of the VTuber space. You're 100% right. I didn't realize it.
Behavior. Nano continues in the document in the next section, titled Exclusivity and Blacklisting Other Creators. In the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity. But rather, when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Sinder only, and if anyone asked me for commissions, they'd commission me instead to compensate for not working with other creators.
Yeah, lost in the sauce and too competitive.
Yep. Was overworking their editor, yet their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects. The messages below showed that their primary concern
most VTubers are probably young. Yes, they are. They're like early 20s.
Existing models become. It's hard to say how much this messed with my mind as an artist that by working with other people, I'm somehow making my existing models less special. The following screenshot is one of them setting up the blacklist, saying I'm not allowed to work with any new clients or create any new outfits for VTuber 1 specifically, and justifying those things by saying that with each model, my art becomes less. She should
turn into boss bitch energy and collect. Yes.
The idea that my work as an artist and designer is devalued.
Dude, I legitimately think. Hear me out. I think Sinder had such a good opportunity to admit she did everything, admit it, own up to it, and go, yeah, so what? Dude, imagine she admits everything, says she's a bad person, and goes, yeah, I'm a bad guy. That's me. I'm the villain now. I would have respected her way more. If she just came outright and was like the new villain of the VTubing space, I think she could have had a career. If she was just unapologetically like evil, dude, she could have like get a new model, get like an evil model, like full read into it, go full heel, like WWE heel. Oh, it would have been nuts.
By working with other people is insane and hurtful. After realizing what taking a deal with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out. So this first screenshot
would have been
is
cinema,
also from
100%.
January 2025, very recent, and it starts off with Redacted saying, I mean, like, if we wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? Nano replies with, maybe you can share one of your ideas and I can check what I think. Half an hour passes by, Redacted doesn't say anything, Nano says
she's literally a hellhound, she already has an evil model, but like more evil.
Says, I was driving.
Yo, Hive, thank you so much for the tier 1, I appreciate it, brother.
My friends, they don't know it's you, so don't worry. So a monthly fee, calculating my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be if this counts for models I already worked with? Redacted replies with, well, I think the main things we're looking for are for you to not take any brand new model lines and to not make any new models outfits for blank again. So this is them deliberately targeting one VTuber.
Would have worked in the VTubing space 100%.
Anyway, you'd still be able to
1,000,000%.
outfits with all of your other existing babies, and your artwork commissions wouldn't be affected. One of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore. And by the way, guys, when he says
that's
nano
wild.
Babies, it's a VTuber term, so
that's insane.
Model are called Papa or Mama, and the VTuber commissioning.
Oh, Cinder's trying to be a backstabber.
Okay,
Yeah.
If you're not into VTubers, okay, you don't have to tell me, but now you know. Anyway,
see you twerk the lava chicken is crazy.
We just would rather not be able to have a model from you.
Yes,
Maybe
it
not
is.
Any new babies at all.
Yes,
the reason
it
why I brought
is.
this up at all is that there's been a lot of bias with another one of our partners with certain creators, and we'd rather these creators not have what makes Sinder unique, which is your artwork, just drama. An hour later, Redacted comes up with an idea, saying, what about we can pay blank for you, and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think around 4 this year right now.
He'll always get more views,
blank, or blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with blank or blank before. We also have another gamer subs label for you too, the AFK. This is absolutely wild. Look at how many people they're blacklisting over here, okay? Nanolist replies with,
unreal.
Is there any way to add a little bit more since blank still asks for art every now and then? Redacted says, we could do it like when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us so that we buy another art piece. Like, so you still get a job from it. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who these censored creators in the message are. Well,
dude, the fact that they're saying don't work with 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 people, and saying, yeah, if you were to get a job from them, commission to us instead. How can you type that out and just not be like, oh man, I am just unabashedly evil? Like, that's like supervillain type shit there. You see the new wizard character? I already got 2 copies of her.
Well, now we know. This is the full message, with Redacted saying, you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with Bao or Cotton before. These are, again, very big independent VTubers that call Sinder a friend. This is one of the most shameless things I've ever seen.
Yep.
Gatekeeping art from friends, and also gaslighting a very talented artist.
Gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss, let's go!
And throughout the document, you'll see a person of interest called VTuber1. Those got revealed later, and we'll talk about them in this video, so don't worry. Nano then continues in the document, saying, another example of speaking ill of other creators right after they saw I was working with Shy Lily, trying to once again make the idea of working with other clients seem like I am setting myself up with problematic people.
Has Red put out anything? I don't think so.
To reconsider working with them. They also continuously kept asking about my other clients' plans, which for them made the antenna go up and immediately went into slandering Lily. And when Nano says Lily, she of course means Shy Lily. They consistently try to reassure me that despite their best efforts, they just happen to keep trying to bring drama.
Spent 30 for the new age, got 2
Yakuza. Cinder is them trying to look out for me. So this is extremely recent, like a couple of weeks ago, right? In mid-April 2025, with Redacted saying, hey Nano, do you have more plans with Lily besides just the model, like outfits or merch or anything? Nano says, been just a model so far, to which Redacted says, okay, her asking you for a model recently just made the antenna go up. She's been acting weird towards Cinder lately, and we don't know if something's going on. Nano says, oh, that's weird. Redacted says,
I think Red is going to say anything. He doesn't need to.
It's a trading card game that Shy Lily helped launch. Nanolist says, but what do you consider weird? And Redacted says, lately dipping out of collabs they were both a part of at the last minute and now ghosting her messages. Cinder's raided her a couple times on Twitch in the past week, and Lily won't acknowledge Cinder by name. Just like pretty weird
That's
stuff.
insane.
I don't know. Nano says, that's super weird since they both share the same store, lol, referring to Gamersubs, that they both have partial ownership in.
Yep.
And Redacted says, around V-Card's launch, they were talking and collabing, and I don't know what happened, but her asking you for a model after that was just weird, even though she said
it's not weird. How the fuck is that weird?
I don't know. Hate that we keep bringing you into drama, to which Nano
she
says,
threw her
yeah,
boyfriend under the bus because he's not a contributor. 100%.
Have to compete with Lily if she's
They're still 100% dating. There's no doubt in my mind.
Shy Lily is also one of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet, and she is someone that considered Cinder a friend. Now we have proof that she was backstabbing her too. Nano continues in the document. The idea that they need to stay informed and gauge the competition is extremely upsetting and toxic to me. The competition they're referring to are people I thought they considered friends who always helped, supported, and platformed Cinder. When I pushed back, the immediate response was blaming the other creators and implying that they initiated it by trying to work with me and that somehow justified their actions. They imply Shy Lily ignored Cinder when she spoke.
They're trying to make the next evil plan. True.
Let's watch it together.
Ignore what you just saw. Okay. Ooh! Oh my goodness! Hello! Oh! Hello, Raiders! Hello! I am playing Berserker.
Damn, Berserker looks fun as hell.
We were sponsored, but the game was really fun, so I just kept playing for like a million more hours.
I gotta play that.
Hello, everyone! Hello!
Twitch asked me if I want to send a message. What the hell is that, man?
Pyropop raid! Hello, Pyropops! What did you guys do? I am low-key addicted. I usually, okay, so most people know me for my gacha addiction, but
Right, so I think that's enough proof to see that she acknowledged the raid and did her best to interact with her and her community when they raided her. So this idea that she ignored her completely is totally false.
So sweet. She's insanely sweet.
Nano would be too lazy to actually find the stream itself and see Shy Lily's real reaction to the raid. Again,
I had the opportunity. I met Lily. I met Shy Lily at TwitchCon last year, and the best part of meeting Shy Lily was when me and Techie, we played beer pong against her and someone else. We kicked her ass. We demolished them in beer pong. Absolutely demolished. It was so much fun.
Scummy behavior. On that same day, Redacted and Nano kept DMing each other.
Does she talk like that IRL? Yes. That is how she talks. She probably plays it up a little bit for stream, but that is how she talks.
Saying real.
Or what she sounds like.
You've been doing continuous model outfits for? We'll have the demon update list plus final arcade reference for you soon as it's finished, to which Nano says, I think it is. I have an outfit for Blank plan too. As for Blank, got nothing for now, but she always comes up with something. Redacted asks, do you know
Isn't she short? Yes,
model?
she's very
Nano
short.
says, gonna be Blank. To which she replies with, thanks Nano.
Very short.
Questions. Just gotta stay informed, especially when it comes to our top artist. Never a break. Nano says, don't worry, just don't stress too much with the side things. It's bad for balding. Redacted replies with, I'm gonna go bald now. I'll keep you in the loop about anything else going on with that. Nano replies with, the balding? And Redacted says, no, you fool, just stupid drama. Gotta stay competitive even when we shouldn't have to.
That's
also,
so fucking weird.
And Nano says, don't go too far on the competitiveness. It can get bad. Gotta chill sometimes. To which Redacted says, hey,
it's not us.
What? A model from the artist of the other gamer
Did you see her face? I don't remember. I think she was wearing a mask.
By the fact that both Shy Lily and Cinder are co-owners of a company, and this is how Cinder is treating her. Her competitiveness knew no bounds. She would probably push a toddler off a bridge if it meant getting 100 extra viewers on Twitch.
Yes, she would.
Saying below, I wanted to push back and make clear I was uncomfortable on being dragged into drama, and they responded by bringing up more drama and baseless claims, all while trying to guilt trip me. It is ironic and crazy to me that I mentioned not wanting to be dragged into personal issues, only for them to.
Tucky also met Cinder. No, I haven't met Cinder.
So this is where things get real, because it's not Redacted doing the talking, it's Sinder directly. The DMs were from February 11th, 2025, so just a couple months ago, and it starts with Nano saying, Sinder, just wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. Wanted to apologize personally to you since I've only talked about that with Red, but I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like that. After all, Blank is still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of
Shelly
thing.
is
Just wanted to let
410.
you know
That
I still
sounds
love working
right.
with you and Red, but I'll understand if things doesn't work out because of Blank. I just love my clients, that's all. 3 hours later, Sinder replies with, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot.
How is it
It's like I'm
confusing?
always living in someone's shadow, which is one reason why Redacted asked about not making any more models for her. And when you said I understand if things don't work out, it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts
Dude,
so much after
it's
all
so
this time. I really
it's so
appreciate
fucking crazy to me that, okay, how popular and how fucking rich do you need to be? She say, I feel like I'm living in her shadow. Sinder, you are fucking popular. What do you mean you feel like you're living in her shadow? You're co-owner of one of the biggest gaming supplement companies in the fucking industry. You regularly get 3 to 5K, probably even more on Twitch. You probably have like 1 million subs, 1 million followers on Twitch. Like, what do you want? What more could you possibly want? You have made it. This isn't like you're some indie underground VTuber. You've made it. You've made it. Stop trying to fucking compete. You're probably a millionaire, man. Fucking relax. Calm down.
Nano, and it's your decision who you ultimately work with, but this is how I've been feeling. Nano continues in the DMs, replying with, I don't really see the point
Unreal.
about being compared to Blank. You're so much bigger already. You've done so much more. But I would never
Right?
give Blank any priority over you. Also, there's not even any model for her being discussed. I just want to sleep clear-minded. Also, I'm fine not doing her models, but at least GamerSup's art stuff would be fine with me. I don't want to be 100% an asshole to her. That's all.
She wants the Deets around Iron Mouse? Like,
people's opinions of it.
fucking why?
Any drama that other people want to talk about.
She had like
I
8K and she only
understand
streamed
where you're
5.
coming
That's
from. And Nano
nuts.
says, sorry about this. My mental is just a bit weak. Cinder says, same girl. To which Nano says, I'm sorry for bringing this to you. Cinder then replies with, I want you to get that money. The whole situation is just kind of sucky. I want to just get along. And then Nano specifies that the phrase that she said, I understand if things didn't work out, meant that it would be mostly if you hate me for not burning Blank down from my list. To which Cinder reassures her,
Unreal.
saying, I would never hate you. And Nano said, thank you. And same, I'm just an insecure bitch. Cinder ends this conversation by saying, I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People saying dumb shit online just makes me stressed.
Yo, Drax,
Nano
what up,
continues
man?
the document, saying, justifying their behavior by stating they are simply looking out for me when none of this has anything to do with me to begin with, and manipulating me into being grateful
When they
for earning
taste
all
power,
things
they
despite
want
the
more,
loss of
I
long-time
guess.
returning clients and new clients. As you can see, this is already
She's greedy and stupid. True. She is greedy and stupid. Good callback.
It's called Concerning My Work and Models as a Team. Another example of going after other clients of mine from before, claiming that having more clients alongside them makes my work less special, with the recurrence of it's just
You're
business.
right, Otter.
Manipulating me into believing that working with her is special for multiple reasons and that I risk losing that special something as a client if I prefer to work with others. No acknowledgement of my reasoning and need of working with other clients due to the nature of my work, solely focused on their issues. I would also like to note again that this screenshot is one of many occasions that indicate that Red speaks on Cinder's behalf. I was originally concerned with everything going through Red, that it may not have been 100% of Cinder's feelings or wants. I messaged her about it to make sure that he spoke on her behalf and confirmed with both of them this was the case. So this is it. Some people read only the first few pages of the document and concluded, wait, this isn't Cinder, this is just her manager. He's probably speaking on her behalf and she has no idea. Well, this right here confirms, no, not only was she aware of what he was saying, but she fully agreed with everything her manager
course,
said.
why wouldn't
These
she?
date back to November of 2023, and it's Nano starting off the conversation saying, hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red and I believe he talked to you already, and I thought it would be best if I just check here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me and I think I misunderstood things. To which Cinder says, I'm doing good. What's up, Nano? Nano then says, oh, it's mostly about this. And it's a screen cap of what Red said in their DM saying, not to discredit any of your work because everything you work on is the top of the line incredible, but when everyone's a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that makes sense. Kind of been getting the same feeling from GamerSup's lately too. To which Nano says, I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. To which Cinder replies with, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's
just business.
Business.
It's just
What is this,
business.
mafia? Pointing a gun at your head and before shooting you saying it's nothing personal, it's just business. What the hell is this?
That's
And then he
wild.
continues, of course we love working with you and want to keep working together, but if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's for a reason for you to help grow and not because you don't like me.
What?
One of your very first model babies was so amazing. I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with live to decutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part of why I love the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. I can have Redacted send you a list of our plans for the future and estimated due dates, so just let us know what you actually want to work on. That way I have time to look for someone else if you don't have time for my projects.
is
or
so
don't want to do them.
fucking
It feels
embarrassing.
special to only have your model art for all my outfits, but just let me know if you don't have time for me to be an exclusive Nano art baby anymore. Nano then replies with, it's no personal reason. I would never do something like this to you or anyone, but yeah, it's important for my job to reach far, and I like working on different projects and people. I never ever said I don't want to work with you anymore. I told Red that even though I have my other works, I will always have a way to get you a priority spot when possible. You'll always be my special baby. Cinder replies with, I also think it's important for you to work on projects that you're excited about, so I'll go through my plans with Red and send you our ideas to see if it's possible with your schedule.
I knew this was bad, but I didn't think it was this bad. Like, I skimmed everything, right?
Just as much as I do. Nano says it's okay. We'll update you guys ASAP, and Cinder says sounds good to me. Nano continues in the document saying, Red tries to make it look like they never meant for it to appear like they wanted me to be exclusive by framing it as something I wanted, while immediately doubling down on the fact that me working with more people makes my work less special and no longer unique, as if every design is just a Cinder clone. These are DMs also from November 2023 between Nano and Redacted, in which Nano says, so it's about working with Cinder. My friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop working other models, so I do more for Cinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want to do. I don't want to take
Shit,
credit for
everything
any
got
situations.
Gritty's losing
I still will
everything.
always
She's
have
not
a
gonna
way
lose
open slots
everything,
for
though, which
Cinder,
is
but
the
I won't be
unfortunate
having her
part.
as my only customer. Redacted says, I agree, you're a free artist and should do what you want, but I was under the impression that taking on more Cinder work is what you wanted to do. I didn't think it was like we were making you do that. Nano then says, guess we got a misunderstanding on both sides? It's more about this. And she replies with the initial message from Redacted in which she was like, yeah, not to discredit your work or anything, but whenever you work with other clients, it makes your work less special, right? To which Redacted
Her
says,
PR is
"Well,
fucked.
I mean,
Her
what I said
PR
is
is
still
insanely
true
fucked.
about how we
And
feel.
no one is
I
ever
wasn't
going
saying you
to
had to only
collab
do
with her
Cinder
ever
work from now
again.
on.
But she's going to continue having a
What the hell is
career.
this, man? He then continues. That's with anything, though, not just your work. If you have something special and then everyone wants and gets that thing, it makes it less special. I'm sorry you were under the impression we were trying to make you only do work for us. I will keep things more business talk and less emotional. Lol. Just let me know how this will affect your schedule so I can tell Cinder after. Sorry for the stress, Nano. To which she replies with, but every single model I do is unique and I make them
She got
special
her
in
own
their
island?
way. It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
selling Cinder to everyone. Please don't feel this way. Redacted then says, no, I know. You pour your heart and soul into your models and they're all incredible. And Nano ends this conversation with, I'm sorry I made you both feel this way too. So textbook manipulation, textbook gaslighting, textbook backstabbing. I mean, is there anything here that doesn't
Let's go
scream
solo.
manipulation?
She'll go solo.
Reading through these DMs, I feel very sorry for Nano. She clearly loves to make art and is so conflicted here because she values Cinder as a friend and client, but at the same time, her gut feeling tells her something's wrong. These are very unreasonable demands.
It is.
Anyway, the document continues. It's simply business. Normalizing their behavior once again by stating that it's simply business to sabotage other VTubers' careers and not work with them and focus on Cinder instead. This is again from November 2023, in which Redacted says, it's okay, Nano. You're just making a living and making a name for yourself, and I can't blame you for accepting work from other big names in the industry and having very desirable talent. If you end up filling your model schedule again like it was, let me know. We'll have to replan some things depending on that. Nano replies with, thank you for understanding my side. We're all trying to have our names somewhere. Just don't take this personal or anything. I still love working with you guys. And again,
Jesus
apologize for the
Christ.
trouble on your plans. I'll still revisit my list and see what I got. He then says, business is business. If you want to go through the project we talked about and let me know which ones you'd want to do too. Later on, Redacted replies to another message from Nano in which he says, I don't want to take any sides on any drama or situation. And he says, is this about blank model Nano? Nano says, yeah, I want to take it, but I don't want to disrespect Cinder. I just want to do pretty models, no hurt feelings.
Used to be a fan when she was
Redacted then says,
Tashi. I had no
business is
idea
business,
she was
to which Nano
Tashi
replies with a
before
crying emoji.
Cinder.
Redacted replies with, Nano, you're a freelance artist and blank is a longtime client. So it makes sense to continue.
She will
your
keep
effort,
going
but I
back.
understand the logistics.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you
She-
need to
she's
be
gonna-
respectful.
she's gonna
Nano
keep on
replies with, I
Cinder.
really appreciate for understanding my side. I do understand your side too, but sadly it's something between you two, not me. I shouldn't get involved in this fight. I just go art. Brr. Redacted then says, right, I know. I just didn't think our conversation sounded like I was trying to make you not work with her on a model, like blank specifically. Nano then says, maybe I just considered the situation too much.
Dude, this red guy, dude, this is standard textbook gaslighting. Legitimately, that's all this is. It's just fucking gaslighting. That's all it is.
for thinking this way, and he says it's okay. Then Nano says, but are we good for real? This feels like a weird breakup. I'm stressing.
Not many
Nano
artists
says,
will want to
"Me and
work
you
with
are
her.
good, but I still
Artists
have to
will
tell all
continue
this to
working with
Cinder.
her.
It'll be fine. Don't worry. I think she's still sleeping. So
Desperate
it's constant
artists
back and forth.
will.
It's very exhausting to
100%.
because in 2023, they made her think that by taking on other clients, her art meant less. Then when she confronted them about it, they were like, oh, we never meant that. We just want you to work on Cinder's models. Do what you got to do. But then we saw very recent DMs from 2025 as well as 2024 in which they were telling her, do not work on models for these people in particular. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Nano continues the document saying, damage control. Making sure none of this reaches the other VTubers and is all kept hush hush, while also providing proof that they know what they do is ill-intended. And
Some artists will not care 100%. There's so many artists out there that are like scrounging money every fucking month.
Discord, so it wouldn't accidentally be leaked. This was from the same day in November 2023. A lot was revealed that day. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's more fair for both sides this way. And Redacted says, you didn't tell Blank you canceled because of Cinder, did you? And Nano said, no. I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides Blank. Redacted then says, lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on / not work on something, especially if it's something you want to / don't
That's
want to
so
do. Our conversation the other
gross.
day doesn't mean to convince you of only
That's
doing
so
Cinder. Again, sorry if
gross.
it sounded to you like I was telling you to do only Cinder work. I'll message you later. So ever since 2023, Redacted and Cinder have been obsessed with just this one VTuber, always tracking what she's doing and not wanting her to hire Nanolist no matter what. Here you can see Redacted saying, well, let's see if Blank wants a nano model or not, and hope Blank finds someone else. Nano continues in the document.
He also still owns part of GamerSubs? Oh yeah, that won't change.
Unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. So Cinder was convinced this VTuber was competing
You're 100%
with
right,
and wanted
Drake.
to steal her thunder. It's censored in this document, but we'll later find out who this is because she also made her own document. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. Nano's document ends with around 3 or 4 screenshots showing this absolute obsession with this VTuber and the unhinged thought process that Redacted and Cinder had towards them. This is Redacted saying, I think it's more like wanting her to recognize Cinder.
Alright, so I flood to Cinder more so because opportunity. You're definitely right.
But I also understand her point of view.
Because they know that she's not gonna be able to be picky.
If she did
Cinder,
recognize
that
Cinder as
is.
an equal or a friend, then I would be like,
She
she's
could
working with
still
I've seen
clear her
some
name.
replacements. They sure
I
are
don't know
models
what
too.
she
Like, at
could
the end of
do.
the day, it isn't just about how much we make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder's
I don't know
too.
what
She's
she
out there
could
on her
do
own
to
merits,
clear
just
her
like you did,
name.
get along.
I think
There's a
Cinder's
marketing potential
fucked.
and money they could make if they team up. I just know anything we do, she's watching and will take from or try to outdo. Oh my god, you know the spinning figure we have on stream? Blank's figure was announced on Wednesday. No spinning figure. Cinder debut Saturday. Everyone hears about it. Figure announced. Spinning figure on screen with exclamation mark figure right next to it. Blank streams yesterday. First stream since Cinder debut. Guess what? Spinning figure with exclamation mark figure next to it. Now this might seem confusing, but we were just talking
Do
about.
I maybe guys? Okay, hold on, guys. I need Cinder off for arc incoming. Ooh, that could be an out. That could be an out. A Cinder OF arc. That could be an out. Artists, if you're out there, artists, I need a spinning shinya artist thing made. A spinning figure, spinning Shiv Fansley. That's insane. I need a spinning fat guy artist thing commissioned. You guys should have it done by the weekend. Cool, sounds good. All right, thank you.
VTuber 1. But there was another VTuber that both Sinder and Redacted were obsessed with, a Cerberus pup VTuber. Here we have Redacted talking about her mid-conversation, accusing her of copying Sinder every chance she got, saying that like a month later unfollowed her on Twitter and started taking her ideas.
Exactly, Stasis. That's what I
Now
need.
she's basically rebranded to more of a fire Cerberus.
I need that, but with me and like 3D.
She used to call herself a hellhound, but stopped when Sinder grew past her and now uses Cerberus or Cerber pup or whatever her lore says she is. I don't know. Nano says the unfollow is weird, and then Redacted says, yeah. So it's like there was also unprovoked tweets from her like, I didn't copy anyone else for my design. My design is all me. This is who I am. Like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Then he continues and says, oh, lol. On random Sinder clips on YouTube, there was one dedicated blank fan or someone she knew, I don't know, that would comment on these clips saying like, when are you going to clip blank? Only on Sinder clips. Nano ends this document by saying, I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure. So look, this whole idea of, oh my god, this VTuber's copying me or whatever, this isn't the first time we see it in the VTuber space. It happens more often than anyone would like to. But Sinder, as well as Redacted, were taking it to a whole other level. They weren't just concerned by someone copying them, they were obsessed. And they were dragging their artist who has been loyal to them into this mess as well. It was a very, very bad look. Some people were analyzing some of the DMs between Sinder and Nano, and this part right here, where she says, being one of your very first model babies was so amazing, I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with live 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. Made people think like, wait, what are you saying here? Are you saying your skill is thanks to me because I found someone that can help your live 2D cutting?
That's
and the reason
wild.
everyone even started to look for you is because they loved my model first? It seemed like Sinder believed Nanolist owed her for the success. That she would be a nobody if it wasn't for Cinder. What a very
It does sound like it, doesn't it?
Additionally, here's a screenshot of all the models that Nanolist worked on. Oh my god, I have to censor that. Dude, her boobs are literally out of the outfit. What? Anyway, as you can see, they don't look the same at all. They're all very special and all have their unique traits. This idea that the more models she worked on would devalue her work as an artist.
Holy shit, I didn't realize Nano did all of these. Wait, what? Nano's done like not every. Nano's done a significant amount of the big VTubers. Holy shit, I did not know that. What? Wait, that's sick. She had plans with more? What the hell? Yeah, I see like the silhouettes. This is wild. Man, like, again, guys, I'm not really big, like, super versed in the VTubing space, but this is crazy. I did not realize it was this many. That's awesome. Nano does amazing art. It's like every popular VTuber. Yeah, pretty much.
A ridiculous claim to make, and everyone can see that now. But speaking of everyone, what about her close
Who's the
friends
censored
that she
one? I have
flexed
no
at
idea who
so
those are.
shamelessly? What was their
Nano's a
reaction?
big name,
Well,
yeah.
Cottontail was one of the people mentioned in that document
About
that
thing.
both Sinder and her manager were trying
Good
to
friends
keep
with
away
Bao
from
Dano,
even though
Bao
they were
Dano,
friends.
Kissler.
Which Redacted says, you don't work with Bao
Heard
Cotton,
you
like,
cancel
at
and
all.
Bao, is
She
everything
tweeted
alright?
this saying,
Ah,
this made
okay.
my stomach drop to read.
Art or
It was
rigging?
very
I believe
sad
she
to
does
have
the
things
art.
like this, sending Nano and Bao
I don't
so
think
much
she
love.
does
And I can't
rigging.
even
I don't
imagine
know. I
thinking
could
that
be
someone's
wrong.
my friend and they're out there in DMs getting their manager to gatekeep an artist from me because they think I'm a threat to them. But of course, Cottontail was far from being the only one affected here. 5 minutes after Nano released her document, Bao quote tweeted and said, I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend, with her own Google document. Now look, many friends of Sinder were involved in this, but Bao was more involved than most because this didn't just concern Nano, it also concerned editors as well as animators. So here's what Bao had to say in her document, saying, hello, this is Bao. I will only speak to what Nanolist has decided to share with the public and the messages that directly mention you by name. I would like to kindly ask everyone to refrain from turning this into a witch hunt and remember that we are still humans at the end of the day. Before I start, I want to point out why I'm addressing both Sinder and Redacted despite the messages being largely from Redacted. Many times throughout the messages, the words we, we're, our occur numerous times. As someone who was close to and worked with Sinder for years, I have firsthand experience
Yo,
how Sinder
Screez,
and
what
Red
up, man?
collaborate and the extent to which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects. It is that experience that leads me to believe that all requests and messages sent by Red were both known about and approved of by Cinder. In March
some of the
2024,
effective
I
ones?
announced
Yeah,
that one of
yeah,
my subathon goals was a live 2D model. This right here is the tweet of her announcement. If she reaches 10,000 subs, she's going to commission a new sexy mommy live 2D model. That's what she's referring to. She then continues, Nanolist was going to be the live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased the screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had grown very attached to the design.
Can't catch a break, yeah.
Private group chat that Cinder
I
was
saw
on
the
all
stream
of.
where she
I
like
shared how
basically broke
devastated I
down
was that she did
crying.
not
Shit's
comment or say
wild.
anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolist. She then shows us the same screenshots that were in Nano's document, in which we now know that Bao, Cotton, as well as other VTubers were directly targeted by both Redacted and Cinder. Bao then continues in her document and says, Nanolist asked Redacted on why he is encouraging her to not finish my model. Redacted then lists my name amongst various VTubers as well as the vendettas Cinder and Redacted harbor against each. She then lists all these reasons that they were targeting Bao. The first one being, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. The second, she hijacked our YouTube editor. The third, constantly picking up artists that we work with. The fourth, now she's barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators. And the fifth, has a way of guilt-tripping others to get her way. This is what Redacted lists as reasons why Nanolist should cancel her ongoing live 2D commission with me, all the while continuing to collaborate
You know
with me
what
and pretending to be my
the
friend.
worst part of this is? This is the only stuff that we know that's public, right? So imagine the stuff that we haven't seen yet. Because this is almost 2.5, 3 years of messages. We've only seen a very small snippet. Imagine the stuff that's out there that we haven't seen yet that's going to be coming to light more and more as more people like find out about this and, you know, start shedding light on some of the stuff. There's so much out there, I'm sure. You taking Esmond most critical other creators and like people that are not VTubers I watch? Hell yeah.
This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage other friends out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies to fuel selfish narratives. Friends do not use the private information.
There's so much not put out because of personal information. And I can only imagine the type of shit that's in those.
Then I hope you realize no one will be left when you get there. She then links another screenshot we saw in Nano's document of Redacted asking, did you cancel the models? And then says more screenshots of them urging Nanolist to cancel the ongoing live to decommission with me, even mentioning how excited I was about it when I showed them the design during Sinder and I's concert at WeebCon in 2024. That is so scummy. Again, this is a screenshot that we saw in Nano's
That's
document.
so gross.
So then Bao mentioned something that happened in this conversation between Nano and Redacted, in which Redacted was urging her to cancel the model.
Shelly encouraged Nano. I'm sure she did.
For free as an apology.
I'm so glad she did.
I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price if she starts shit, lol. And Bao quotes that sentence of Redacted and says, I don't know what I have ever done to either Redacted or Sinder to deserve this level of vitriol towards me. I don't remember having any issue or any problem that couldn't have been solved by talking. So yeah, this is really, really screwed up, obviously. I mean, anyone can tell, right? It's like Bao murdered one of their family members and got away with it. Like, what did she do, man? Anyone who's ever worked with her has said nothing but good things about her. Out of all her friends, she decided to target the person who is probably the nicest out of all of them. Anyway, Bao continues, saying, regarding the messages where Sinder and Redacted openly accused me of stealing their YouTube editor, Boss Rush music video animator, as well as any artist they have worked with, she attaches an image that shows an email between her and Kaiser, their YouTube editor, in which he says, hi Kaiser, nice to meet you. I was just watching your stream highlight from me and Cinder's collab, and I really loved your editing style and humor. I was curious if I could request a video edit from you every now and then if you have any availability. My username is Bao on Discord if you want to chit chat more there. Thanks again. And Kaiser says, hi Bao, I'd love to edit a video for you. I just sent a friend request on Discord. Bao continues in the document saying she hijacked our YouTube editor. The YouTube editor, Kaiser, is a mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Sinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Cinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted 5 hours and says, on March 20th, I started a group Discord call that lasted 5 hours to hang out with my editors. In this group call, Kaiser shared with us that he was afraid to ask Cinder for a raise because he initially
said she knows way worse stuff.
Cinder, and
what?
Encouraged him to take the deal and reassured him that it would not change our friendship.
Bro.
I never want someone I care about to miss an opportunity.
Lily's still sitting on ammo is awesome. I hope it comes out. Oh man.
There are no words to describe the hurt and betrayal I feel now knowing
man.
Sinder and Redacted were actively portraying me as a thief and a detriment to their business. I've only ever supported them in their activities and never once thought that I had somehow gotten on their nerves. She then quotes what Redacted said in the DMs with Nano, a sentence that said, Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped. Bao then says, I'm in shock and disbelief that this is the narrative they decided I deserved. Saying that I harbored an invisible jealousy because my songs flopped made me feel sick to my stomach. In late 2024, I was dealing with debilitating TMJ pain that resulted in me having to drain fluid from my jaw joint to open my mouth properly. They both knew this. I have always wanted my friends to succeed alongside me.
Saving ammo, while
simultaneously weaponizing my most vulnerable moments against me. I mean, at this point, no comment, right? Like, no comment. This is disgusting. For years, they were trying to backstab her as hard as they could. She had no idea. She thought they were friends. So this was her clearing up the whole idea that she stole their editor. She did nothing of the sort. But then there was the topic of her animator. So here she quotes the sentence that Redacted had told Nanolist, which is, we're 99% sure she told him, Sacramore, her animator, not to do any more with us,
I love drama. I love drama.
Sinder and Redacted are referring to my animator, Sacramore, whom I have been working with since 2023. She proves this by showing DMs between them in 2023. Bao saying, hi, I'm going to bed, but give me your rates and turnaround time for a video like the Bao Experience one. Me and my editors loved it, and Sac said, yo, all good. And she continues. In 2024, Sac asked me if he could go completely exclusive for me and work for me in-house with no credit in order for him to be able to quietly work on his personal projects and brands without having VTubers asking for more commission work. I was happy to accept. I want to reiterate, this was Sac's decision and no one else's. Then she says, here is proof of Sac mentioning his wishes to be my in-house animator directly to my channel manager June back in December 2024, refuting Redacted's claims that I locked him up due to Boss Rush's success. These DMs between Sac and June, her channel editor, have Sac asking, yo, is it fine if going forward I don't be credited in video descriptions? To which June says, okay. Sac then says, thank you. I'd rather just be more an in-house type of thing for Bao after this blank thing is done. It's the last commission I ever do for anyone besides Bao, and want to make a name for myself through my own content and not really my work for others next year. So again, Bao showed up with the proof and she's showing us how delusional Redacted and Cinder were. Bao then ends this by asking, why aren't you solving this privately? And then replies, if you look at the timeline of events from Nano's document, some of those messages date back years. I found out about this less than 48 hours ago, and they did not give me common courtesy of talking to me.
Cinder and Lily co-owners of GamerSubs.
Yes. My most vulnerable, they both are. I shared in confidence with people I thought would be by my side years and years from now may have been used as information to ruin my chances to have the same VTuber model as someone I thought was my friend, and I don't know how I can ever be the same after this. I would like to ask the community to refrain from spreading any harmful speculation. Everything shared in this document was done so with the express permission of those who shared it with me. I made this document with the intent to refute the claims made about me in the screenshots. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing is that, like, we have to realize that, and this goes for all streamers and all content creators. Most streamers and most content creators are willing to stab you in the back for a couple views, a couple clicks, and that's just the sad reality of the situation. There's very few people in the space that are truly friends with each other, and when I say friends, I mean, like, we'll go to bat for you, we'll defend you. The vast majority of these fucking people are just looking to climb the social ladder. They're going to see how they can use you, what sort of content they can make off of you. That's the vast majority of content creators, and it is really such a shame that most people view it like that. That's why I'm so grateful for, like, Techie. Like, I know Techie isn't like that. He's a normal ass human who's friends for the sake of being friends, not friends for content or anything like that.
poster, right? And I just feel very bad for everyone involved in this, of course, except Sinder and Redacted, because this is a horror story. Imagine opening up to someone, thinking they're your friend, always thinking about what's best for them and not coming in their way. And then it turns out that not just recently, for years, ever since you knew them, they've only had negative things to say about you privately. That is wild, and that of course will traumatize a person. It's crazy. The VTuber Sane compiled all the different collabs and things that both Bao and Sinder worked on to really show how much of a terrible person she was talking like this behind her back. The song used in the video is a song from Sinder, I'm pretty sure, so I'm gonna mute that just in case she wants to copyright me. Here you go, look at this. They collabed so many different times and met up IRL so many times too. Like, look at this tweet from Bao. Love you, Sinder. The fact that this is your first shot at anything musically is incredible, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. That's my girl. Like, this is insane. The people who were mentioned in Bao's document confirmed publicly that what she was saying was true. Her channel manager, June, quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Hello, I'm Bao's channel manager, and yes, I was there in the call with Kaiser, Bao, and Sak, and Bao encouraged Kaiser to take the raise. It was definitely something she thought would be best for him. Bao supported any opportunity or anything that Kaiser would choose to go." Sak, who is her animator, also quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Feel free to read if you want. Go show love and support to both Nano and Bao, though," and linked a Google document that recounted his experience in the situation. So Sak starts this document off with, "This is going to be very..."
I haven't seen this one. Holy shit.
That they, read specifically, deserve any more of my attention after hearing what they have said about me and also how working with them was. So he specifies again that he wanted
fucking
to
everyone made a Google Doc, man.
But because he wanted to. Wanted to
what
focus
the
on his
fuck?
while not worrying about having to be commissioned by other people. Then he addresses what Redacted told Nanolist about him, where he says, "Her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned." Sak says, "When me and Sinder initially discussed working on a music video project at TwitchCon, everything was fine and friendly. However, the part that is stated as practically jump through hoops is, well, a bit of an overstatement to say the least, since they had asked me a significant amount of times trying to get me to work with them after I told them no multiple times, and I only said yes because they offered double pay." So in this DM, you can see in September, Redacted reaching out to Sak asking, "You wouldn't happen to be available for a music video in a week or two, would you?" And Sak saying, "No, I'm completely full every day this month, and earliest I could do is November 9th. Sak really tried to make it work, but couldn't find any slots in his schedule. Redacted would continue asking questions. How long does it take you to make a music video? What do you need? And even with Sak saying multiple times, "I really can't, I'd love to, but I just can't," he says things like, "Okay, thanks though, Sak. You're missing out on a good one." Like,
Jesus
Christ.
He
just can't. Redacted then keeps messaging Sak, talking to him about project specifics, asking him how long things would take him, and seeing when he's free. And then on the 12th of November 2024, Redacted messages Sak saying, "Are you available? Sorry for getting back to you so late." Sak says, "All good. I'm still 100% down to do it. I'll be able to start like the first or second week of December for like mid-December release. Is that okay?" And Redacted says, "We were hoping end of November release," to which Sak says, "Oh yeah, that would be impossible for me." Sak then specifies, "Like I said, I'm still super down to do it and really hope to be able to work with Sinder on the video, but my schedule is always super packed / fully planned weeks and months ahead without much wiggle room, so just let me know what y'all would like to do or feeling." And then Redacted says, "What if we pay you double?" Sak then says, "Blank and I'll cook," to which Redacted says, "You can send the invoice to blank whenever, we'll get it paid ASAP." Sak then continues in the document saying, "Also, I'm not sure what they're on about with Bao not knowing about me working with them, since I asked Bao
video response to Sinder, apology was good. Oh, there's so much, man.
To do all the Halloween album, but we'll probably miss one of the songs, and
she's too sweet. She's showing you fucking thought you fucking the French cookie like Kendrick did Drake. True.
She still said, "Yes, please go ahead." I mean, Sinder is her friend, as far as she knew, right? Then Sak goes on to detail his work experience with Sinder and Redacted, saying, "Also, the stream was pushed back for the reason of the video wasn't done yet. Song was going up at 2 p.m. if I remember. However, this part really got under my skin due to the fact that it was just straight up not true, and if something goes wrong in the video production line, no matter who's at fault, the blame will always fall to the editor / animator pretty much every time. I'm still not sure why stream was pushed back. So it felt as if I was getting passive-aggressively blamed publicly on stream in front of thousands for the lateness really upset me, since the video was not late even under a very tight deadline where I did not even receive all the artwork until the 18th, the first full master until the 19th, and was then asked to also make a teaser version as well as an ad for the end of the video for their merch on the 21st, which I was uninformed of at all prior to planning. I also had skipped going home for Thanksgiving after having a family member pass to get this video done and rushed the hell out of it. The entire video was done from scratch in a little under 2 weeks, since there were quite a few both visual and audio assets I did not have at the time that even remotely resembled what the final product will sound like. So I felt like this was an attack on my work ethic, which is something I take quite a lot of pride in. I did not receive the merch assets until the 27th.
That's disgusting. What?
And all the extra trailers, the video was completed and delivered on time with enough time for YouTube to process the 4K version. There's probably more that I should clarify, since I'm aware this is unbelievably poorly organized, but I'm very tired and don't feel like giving any more energy to these people. If there's anybody who has questions for me, just send me a DM. So this clears up more things that were happening behind the scenes between Sak and Sinder as well as Redacted, shows us that Bao was nothing more than an amazing friend, and also, even though Sinder and Redacted fought so hard to get Sak over, paying him double his rate, they were terrible clients who weren't prepared, didn't know what they wanted, and still managed to make Sak look bad in front of their audience, even though he missed Thanksgiving just to get the video done on time. It's overall a terrible situation. With all these documents releasing, pressure was mounting very hard on Sinder, with people demanding answers. So many looked up to her and loved her content purely because of how warm and gentle and kind of a person she portrayed herself on streams. But now people were realizing this was nothing more than an illusion. Hours later, Sinder finally tweeted something saying, "Effective immediately. Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when I'm able." So I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised when I tell you that this response left a lot to be desired.
It was
but
so
then another
bad.
VTuber pointed out something very interesting. Van Peaches replied to that tweet and said, "I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you first debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, 'Just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip,' as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the Red side of this duo." So as everyone could have guessed, Redacted is her significant other. He's her boyfriend and he lives with her. She was fully aware of what he was doing and approved of it, and yet right now she was throwing him under the bus to try and save her career, when everyone knows this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to save your skin without facing any responsibility. It was a very lackluster response to an apocalyptic expose on who she is behind the scenes. And speaking of who she was behind the scenes, someone else came out with a document of Rain on a topic
who the fuck is
no one
this?
could have ever expected, saying, "Fuck it."
Cheating?
/Sinder.
Wait, I I haven't heard about this. This is all new to me. Wait a minute. Whoa.
Content warning. Cheating?
Whoa.
Let's look at this document. So this goes back way before Sinder was even a thing. This is about Tashi, her previous persona. Things were getting so spicy, my tongue isn't working anymore. The document starts off with, hello, thank you for taking the time to read this document. The events described in it happened about 4 to 5 years ago before the first Sinder debut. I understand there will be accusations of me clout chasing by revealing them. However, I wanted to corroborate Nanoliss's assertion that she is not who she appears to be on the surface, and confirm that no matter how much
The
damage
rabbit hole
she
goes
does, she's
deeper.
just as
Oh,
responsible as
yeah.
the victim.
Holy
The first section is
moly.
titled The Beginning. Cinder and I met while she was still running her Tashi.mp3 YouTube channel, which is why all the following screenshots will show her as Tashi rather than Cinder, and that will come up later. At the time, she was only starting her account, and I already had my own ASMR RP channel with 8K subscribers, and as a bigger channel than her, she couldn't wait to work with someone as talented as me. This message dates back to May 2020, with Tashi saying, "You'll get there. It's still hard for me to believe that someone so talented likes my voice enough to want to work together." Rain continues and says, "We never ended up actually making any content together, but that didn't stop us from talking pretty much every day at the time, and eventually she found a new way to make me useful." The next
Oh,
section is
boy.
titled, "Oh dear." Pretty much immediately, she was
Oh,
flirting with me
dear.
despite, as you can see here, having a boyfriend, and both of us knowing she had a boyfriend, including regularly talking shit about him to me while telling me how great it would be if I were to replace him. What the hell? He continues, "I understand that I'm no angel in this myself, but
What?
I can be honest about it." Oh my god. Anyway, here are the DMs. It starts off with Rain saying, "Besides, you said it's hard when your boyfriend is far, far away. I'm not your boyfriend, am I?" To which Tashi says, "No." But how nice that would be. Your perfect boyfriend material, heart. Okay. Rain then continues, "Oh ho, so you want to go at it behind his back? How sneaky." And then she says, "Hi honey, I've been talking."
No. No. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Oh my God.
talking to this guy about how badly I want him to fuck me since he wanted to buy a flashlight instead of giving me any attention when I'm needy. What? Right? That says, fucking oof, dude. Literally, why would you even need a flashlight when you have a girlfriend? And then Tashi/Cinder replies with, he sent me a screenshot a couple weeks ago telling me he was getting one and had the nerve to use it in front of me to show me how great it was. Wow, yeah, must be great. Rain then says, yo, what the fuck? That's like me inviting you to
Bro, this is literally NTR.
a chatterbait room so you can watch me fuck someone else in all the ways I said I want to fuck you. To which he replies with, isn't that great? Rain then says, I'm very slowly not feeling as bad for him about all this, because it did honestly leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth that all this was happening while you were taken. But then, yeah, that's a bit, Did you tell him that was fucked up and hurtful to you? She then replies with, he asked me if I was okay with it, and after I explained how I felt, he told me it was too late to do anything about it because it shipped. And
Stop it,
Rain
stop
then
it,
says,
stop
far
it.
be it from me to give you advice. It's your relationship, and the only ones who can decide what is and isn't okay is you two, but that just sounds really sketchy to me. And why did he ask if you were okay with it after he bought it? Well, all I'm going to say on this is, two wrongs don't make a right. As much as I enjoy the second thing, it's really not right if you still want to be with him. I would either try to reconcile with him and get what you need out of the relationship and step back from me a bit, or maybe consider taking a break. And I know that last part sounds fucked coming from me, but I swear on my life, I'm not being scummy about it. That's really my opinion. She then replies, I've just been really stressed about everything, and talking to you makes me feel so much better. I don't want to lose what we have, but I'm such an awful person, I don't deserve it anyway. Rain then says, I don't believe you're an awful person. I believe that you're stressed, you're emotional, and you're looking for something to make it better, which happened to be me when he wasn't helping. Listen, take a break from what we have just for a little bit and see if you can get something out of him first. You can't really have both of us, plus it wouldn't be very fulfilling for me to just be the other guy in this scenario.
Damn, W Rain. Okay, that dude, this comment of his, this one right here, that's like, yeah, he's kind of a shithead for like going after a girl who has a boyfriend, but like, at least he's self-aware of it and be like, hey, you know, I don't want to be the other guy. You know, can go give him another chance, try to talk to him. Like that takes a lot of maturity. Like big W on
the full
him.
relationship experience myself. You can do it, sweetie. I believe you can, truly. She then says, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'd do without you. To which she says, I'm not saying to stop talking to me completely. I'll still be right here to support you, whichever decision you end up making. And then she says, I love you so much. I don't know how to thank you. Bro, this is so weird. This is so weird.
He's admitted it's
man.
wrong, so
Look, I'm
it's
convinced
props
this is
there.
some
Yeah,
weird,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
role play fantasy she has. She knew that Rain felt really weird about this, knowing that she had a boyfriend, so she was making up this story to make him feel less guilty about cheating. That's just my theory, right? But I just find her story so unbelievable that it just can't be true. Rain then continues in the document saying, despite what was evidently nothing serious for her and just a means of keeping herself occupied, she felt the need to keep stringing me along with proclamations of real love, which again, I was silly to have believed in the first place, but still. And it's a screenshot of her saying, regardless, I'm always going to love you. He then continues in the document, for obvious reasons. I won't share any of the explicit sex thing, not just because of the NSFW nature of it, but also I just don't think it helps. However, note that all this went on for several months and included more than just text, as both the date and the content of the following screenshots prove. This was in September of 2020, so months since the last DMs we saw, and it features Rain saying, I mean, it looked like something was going down there either way. And then Tashi replies with, it's called fingering, dear. So
That was the worst thing I've ever heard. And don't get me wrong, I'm very sex positive, right? You guys know me. I'm super sex positive. I make stupid, silly comments all the time. But that, I hated that.
Oh my God.
I
Document
hated
then
that
continues.
so
One reason I
much.
felt it important to share these details in particular is because I never found out if Red got told about what happened, especially not in full lucidity. The primary reason I've held on to all this for so long was an itching feeling that Redacted never fully knew, and it always felt like it would be unnecessary drama, so I left it alone. But now seems as good a time as any. Redacted, if you're reading this, I'm sorry for all that happened back then. I really am. But given the actions you two have taken together regarding other VTubers, I still think you're perfect for each other regardless. And this section of this document is the end. After Sinder got done using me for fleeting sexual gratification, our conversation slowed down, exacerbated by the Sinder character coming into fruition and finding immediate success. I had stopped making content for a decent length of time by then, and thus she no longer felt she could ladder climb from me. Here we can see this was a conversation mid-2021 with Tashi saying, hey, what was your exam for? I haven't been on this Discord account super often, so I missed a bit. And Rain said she made a new group chat without me. I kid, but yeah, they were the entrance exams for the uni college. Tashi said, nice, congrats on passing them. I've just been on the VTuber side of things working with commissions and whatnot. And then Rain said, what? And Sinder doesn't want to be my friend? Only Tashi does? To which she replied, it's just easier not having multiple ongoing conversations. Rain continues in the document saying, until eventually she stopped using that account altogether and committed fully to Sinder, and I never heard from her again, something I was uncannily aware would happen even back then. These are DMs from around the same time in 2021 with Rain saying, I messaged you at this time in 2022 and you won't even remember who I am, to which Tashi said, I'd never forget you. Rain then continues the document and says, and that's pretty much it. This isn't meant to be a witch hunt. We all make mistakes, including me, as I've
That's rough. Regardless of how you feel about the guy like fucking around with someone who's taken, like that's rough. Like poor guy, I feel so fucking bad for him like that, man. That's oof. Document, but it felt like a good time to get off my chest things that I've been on it for half a decade now and to finally get some closure, even though I know how bad I look alongside her. She's an opportunist whenever she can find a way to be, and she does not care what happens to the people she springboards off from. I can only hope she takes this as an opportunity to change and grow as a person, and I'm just going to throw this one in the end because it's kind of funny for me to see in retrospect. Okay, thanks for reading. And it's a message from Tashi in 2020 saying, don't forget about me when you become a big popular YouTuber. You know what? I didn't read this document until I started recording, and yeah, this caught me by surprise. Wow. That's
wild.
wild.
I wish Rain had shown this a long time ago so people would have known, okay, this person's kind of weird. And maybe Bao and Nano wouldn't have been backstabbed so goddamn hard.
True.
But it does leave a bad taste in my mouth in regards to Rain as well. Releasing this information now does seem opportunistic because it seems like it's cool to hate on Sinder. In other words,
nah, Mujin, you're wrong there. Mujin's wrong there. I think this is not opportunistic. I think this is just shining light on a horrible human person. I think anyone who has had negative confrontations with Sinder or Tashi, I don't think them coming out makes it seem like opportunistic. I think that's just them showing and re-solidifying what a horrible person they are. I disagree completely with Mujin there.
He was backstabbing her the same exact way she was backstabbing others right now. But speaking of backstabbing, we were slowly but surely uncovering the other
That's
people
not
that
backstabbing, man. What?
Kept coming out. Spiked, another big independent VTuber, posted this on Twitter, quote tweeting Nanolist saying my experience with Sinder and attaching a Google document of her own.
Google Docky.
One of the two last missing pieces of the puzzle. There are two more VTubers that were backstabbed by Sinder that were censored in Nano's original document. So which one is Spiked? Well, let's read the document. It starts off by saying, I want to start by saying please do not send any hate to anyone involved in this. I only wish to speak about my experiences and give more clarity on those experiences. First and foremost, my love and admiration goes out to Nanolist for having the courage to bring this to light. Artists are the backbone of our community, and taking advantage of her goodwill personality is saddening to see. I want to take the time to address what has been brought to light involving myself and what I've experienced over the years that coincide with these events. In this screenshot, the VTuber that is being talked about is very clearly me. Since the beginning of my VTuber journey, it has been written in my backstory and lore that I'm the daughter of Cerberus, and through an unforeseen summoning mishap, the Greek goddess Hecate. As many may know, Cerberus is a species of hellhound, and I've always incorporated the number 3 in my designs to follow the 3 heads of Cerberus in my early design, and when artists were still learning new model/rigging techniques, I had opted for 2 other wolf heads on my shoulders as pauldrons to symbolically represent my 2 other heads. However, the repeated comments of, if you're a Cerberus, where are your other 2 heads, had pushed me to use the broader term hellhound at the time. Fast forward to months to a year into my journey, and I started to receive harassment and berating comments and chat messages on Twitch and YouTube videos comparing me to Sinder and putting me down for being a hellhound. Making the definitive switch to the Cerberus label brought me a sense of relief because the last thing I wanted was to be constantly compared or harassed at this point. I didn't want to be associated with her due to all the negativity that was being thrown my way. Then she links one of the screenshots that were included in Nano's document, in which Redacted claims that Spite unfollowed Sinder on Twitter, and this is what she has to say about it. As for the claims of unfollowing her and taking her ideas, I debuted my 2.0 Live 2D model May 14th, 2022, and on that same day she decided to post her debut announcement for her 1.0 Live 2D model. Leading up to this time, I didn't know who Sinder was at all. I had no idea she had fire in her ears or she was another hellhound. The creator space is broad, and I still stumble across creators larger than myself that I had not heard of before. I never once stole her ideas. All I ever want is to try to be unique in my own way, so these claims that I was following her and then unfollowing and stealing her ideas are absolutely baseless and uncalled for. This is a screenshot that shows that Spike was doing her 2.0 debut on May 3rd, 2022.
God, you're not allowed to have fire in your ears.
No. She had not even done her
no
debut.
fire in your ears. Not allowed.
So her posting her debut announcement trailer the same day as my 2.0 debut seemed off, but I shrugged it off as a coincidence because things happen. However, this wasn't the last time something like this had happened. There have been multiple times where I have done something and either the same day or shortly after I was made aware or had discovered later that something similar had been posted, making me feel like I was being watched.
Or Fred told her to do the rain stuff later to climb. It's entirely possible.
I designed a new outfit that I was really excited for, but afterwards Sinder would release outfits or models with similarities to it. I didn't think much of it at first because it is normal to have some similarities.
You might be onto something, Trucker Dan.
The community is a huge space and similarities are normal. I'm not speaking to whether my designs were taken as direct references for hers. I'm addressing the need for the unprovoked tweets mentioned in the screenshots above and showing that I made the statements to make it clear that I was not stealing ideas. How can I copy something that was released/teased/revealed after my own? On July 20th, 2022, Maui Live, my model Mama, and I worked on a comfy goth girl outfit. I had rips in my shirt, a G-string, shorts, and spiked wrist cuffs. 2 weeks after, Sinder debuted a similar outfit. I included the earliest image that I could find of Sinder with this outfit. I received many negative comments about my design from people assuming that I copied her when I debuted it 2 weeks before hers. I got called off-brand Sinder and just a bunch of horrible things. So these are DMs with her artist saying, "Sounds great, I'm so happy with it," on July 20th, 2022, showing that she was working on
it's possible Red is a cuck, but it's also possible that he told Sinder just like to flirt and like be sexual with this guy on purpose. I don't know if that makes him a cuck. Maybe it does, but yeah, it's like pimping out your girlfriend or your wife to get like higher up status.
Or the tweet that Sinder made on September 14th, 2022, asking, "What do you think of my new outfit that looks very similar?" Spite then continues in her document saying, "I discovered this merchandise that she used for Uwa Market and had to do a double take because of the gray blue skin tone used in the art. Several people thought it was me, and the similarities for this speak for themselves, I feel." So this is the design itself, and yeah, I mean, they do look pretty damn similar, not gonna lie. She continues, "On April 29th, 2024, I designed a Greek goddess outfit on stream. I am a Cerberus VTuber, so it fits my lore completely. I mentioned that I may or may not get a future Greek goddess outfit because it fits my branding. About 4 months ago, Sinder debuted a Heaven Okami-inspired outfit. It was white and gold, resembling a Greek goddess. In the background for debut, she also included Greek columns. At this point, I felt like nothing I could come up with would be even slightly original to me. I'm aware that nothing is completely original, but I still wanted my own identity. So here's the outfit that she drew on her stream, and then here is the debut stream with the new outfit that Sinder came up with."
That's
so on April
funny.
20th, 2024, I debuted a new model from my model mama, Ari VT. I got a hoodie with a cute design on top, and I had side bangs covering my eyes. On April 4th, 2025, so a year later, Sinder debuted a sports hoodie with side bangs covering her eyes similar to mine. Is this a coincidence, or is it truly her trying to copy everything?
That
she's doing?
is.
I'll let you decide. She then continues.
That is pretty fucking similar. It will be pimping if it was him behind the keyboard. No.
I do not have screenshots of.
Not
For example, I
necessarily.
remember posting about my first ASMR stream. The day that I was supposed to do said stream, Sinder plugged her ASMR channel. I thought it was a bit suspect, but brushed it off. I don't have any screenshots of the comments and bullying that I received from her community. There were too many that it became too much to keep track of and just started ignoring them because I never wanted to save images of their words that hurt me. I didn't even want to read the harassing comments in the first place.
It's
I just
the
wanted to
same
let them know
photo.
in my own space. I received a DM on January 25th, 2023. I will not disclose who the sender was without their consent. The sender expressed to me that they were getting bullied by Sinder and certain members of Sinder's community because she too had fire in her ears. I never responded to the DM because I wanted to stay away from drama as much as possible. Here's what the DM said. "Hey, you popped in my feed, and can I just say, I
Maybe
love your design.
catfishing
I had a
more
rather
so,
odd
yeah,
question, I
yeah.
suppose. Have you had any messages from the VTuber Sinder regarding your design? This may seem out of nowhere, but I'm only asking because I had made an original character like a while back, and I was accused by her and others of stealing her design because my dog girl had flames in the ears, and her famans claimed that was exclusive to her design. It was this whole big ordeal.
Exclusive.
Similar happened to you yet? I'd like to clarify. I myself am not saying your design.
You
was
can't
I was
do
told
that.
this was
I've
design.
already
When I said flames
trademarked
in the
it.
ears / in the ears, I had
So
flashbacks and thought to
fucking
myself,
stupid,
oh, no.
man.
So I guess this is just my curiosity getting the best of me. Despite
So
continuing in the document
stupid.
saying, I'm just very saddened and disappointed in this situation.
Only
I
I can have
but
fire
everyone
coming out of my
keep
ears.
quiet. I've also seen what happens when a creator stands up for themselves and receives major backlash, even if they're in the right. So I've never vocalized my concerns. I've always designed my own models. I've gotten inspiration from Cerberus with the chains and spikes, Disney's Hades, and because I call myself Goth Girlfriend, I was inspired by Sam and Ember from Danny Phantom, plus many other of our goth crushes that we've had growing up. I just focused on myself and my friends. Meanwhile, I had eyes on me the whole time. Knowing that I was being watched and talked poorly about really hurts, especially
Trying
when
to
I never
copyright
attempted to
fire out of
interact
yours
with
is
them. I did
so
my best to go
stupid.
through and find what I could and get appropriate screenshots. It's crazy because I didn't know who
Sounds
Sinder
like an
was until
Atsu
she
line.
debuted her
Oh,
life too deep. I
100%.
just wanted to exist peacefully as a VTuber and spend my time drama-free.
That
I
is
woke
an
up this morning
Atsu
in
line.
shock.
If
It's
Hollow Live
terrifying
made
and
a
hurtful to
future
know that
model
someone could
fire
attempt
and
to
she
blacklist me
grasped
when I've
him.
never
Yeah.
even spoken to them. I hope going forward that no one else has to experience anything like this. Thank you guys for being supportive towards me. I love this community so much. Please go and give love and support to all those who have unfortunately been involved in the situation. Please support Nanolist, who was very brave enough to speak up, and the VTubers who were affected. Please support my first model mama, the wonderful Maui Live, and also my most recent model mama, the wholesome REVT. Thank you for taking the time to read this. So as I said in the beginning of this document, this was one of the last two remaining pieces of the puzzle. Who was this Cerberus that they were so obsessed with? A VTuber they never even bothered interacting with, who had this design even before Sinder, and yet they were completely and utterly obsessed with her in such a weird and unhealthy way. Honestly,
Extremely
Spike
weird.
should get a restraining order.
Nintendo
Like,
level
let's be real.
copyright,
But here's
true.
the thing. What about the last missing piece of the puzzle? The one who was called VTuber 1 in Nano's document. Well, this is one of the most screwed up cases of this entire incident, and we're about to find out why. So, you no doubt remember the screenshot in which Redacted was trying to blacklist Bao, Cotton, and a
Oh,
third
God.
VTuber from ever being able to commission Nano again. Well, we now know that this third VTuber is none other than Silverveil, yet another
Yup.
very big independent VTuber. Many hours after the initial statement from Nano, she quote-tweeted Nano's tweet and said, "My statement on Cinder and Redacted."
Oh,
linking
boy,
yet
here we
another
go.
Google Doc. It starts off
Google
with a
Docky.
introduction. I shouldn't have to say this, but me putting out this statement is not a call for or an excuse for anyone to turn the situation into a witch hunt. My intention for making a statement is strictly to give myself closure from the events of the past years and clarify how I have been personally affected. I debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name in the original document censored, as the situation is much bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that though a majority of the messages are from Redacted, who is Cinder's manager, I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own
How many
intentions
Google
without Cinder's
Docs we
knowledge or
got?
consent, given the extent to which he
I
has
think we've
represented
covered
publicly and professionally. The next
5
section is titled
in this
Nano
video so
and
far.
VTuber 1, in which
There's
we see
probably
many
way
messages that were
more,
already
too.
included in Nano's document, where Redacted was trying to convince Nano to go exclusive and not work with specific VTubers. As you can see, this is the message where he says you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Silver at all again, models or art. And then
More
Nano
than
says,
5?
is there any way
Well,
to
I mean,
add a little bit
just
more
in
since
this
Silver
video.
still asks for art every now and then?
Well,
To which
specifically
Redacted says,
so far.
We could do it like when Silver asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece, like so you still get a job from it. So they wanted to blacklist Silver so hard that if Silver were to ask for any commissions, Redacted and Cinder were willing
That's
to
so
pay money to
insane.
Nano so that she doesn't take the job. We also get more clarity, right? The model that Redacted was talking about was Silver's model. The DMs between Nano and Cinder also reveal to us much more now that Silver's name has been uncensored. Here we can see Nano saying, just wanted to let you know, I still love working with you in Red, but I'll understand if things don't work out because of Silver. I just love my clients, that's all. That was was in February 2025, barely 2 months ago. So this person that Sinder was saying I just get compared to her a lot even still today was Silver, and Silver had no idea this was happening behind her back. Silver then continues in her document saying, I am VTuber1 in the screenshots provided by Nano in her document. I've been a friend and client of Nano for years, and seeing how she was manipulated and abused by Sinder and Red makes me livid. She's an absolute sweetheart and just wants her clients to be happy. It breaks my heart to see how she was treated like a tool and a resource to be used for growth rather than a talented living person, and gaslit into somehow believing that how she was being treated was okay. I am so proud of Nano for having the courage to come forward to the affected people with all of this and to let everyone know how they were being unknowingly sabotaged. I've spoken to her privately and want to be clear that I have no ill will or hard feelings towards Nano for her involvement in this. I urge people reading this to try and understand the emotional manipulation on display and empathize with her situation. There is a lot I could say about how disgusting I find their behavior towards other creators in general, but I want to focus on my personal experiences. The next section gets real, and it's titled Sinder and I, and this is where she goes into the very weird relationship with Sinder and reveal the depth of the backstabbing. She starts off by saying, discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Sinder, we weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was as cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. I am fully aware how common that attitude is, and that's just how you grow in this sphere, but I personally don't have the emotional fortitude or bandwidth to have friendships for the express purpose of growth. For the record, I think it's fine to have that view and approach to content creation, but I also reserve the right to simply not vibe with someone.
I don't think we've seen the apology just yet,
though, for the purposes of growing my brand. The only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greet at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And as you can see, this is a tweet from Sinder back in October 20th, 2023, with her saying, "Stop by to say hi after my meet, Wolf Girls," really making it seem like her and Silver were friends and knew each other, when that wasn't the case at all. Silver then continues, saying, after the meet and greet, she contacted my manager at Mythic to ask me to collab with her. I told him I would rather not collab, but accepted her friend request on Discord after turning her down. In private DMs, she reached out and asked me to do merch or another various form of collab to be monetized, to which I again declined. I will always prioritize my mental health and peace over any potential profit that would make me feel used transactionally and put me out of my comfort zone. So these are the DMs with her Mythic manager saying, also, Cinder really loved meeting you and wanted to collab, so I told her I'd let you know, and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you were interested. To which Silvervale said, hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I prefer to not do collabs. Her manager said, no worries, hope you're having a good weekend.
I just said he was in this pic, but she cut him out. Ooh.
Thanks, I'm trying to, just busy on lots of IRL stuff coming up, lol. Sorry for not being interested in collabs, I just like to do my own thing, but I'm always open to messages, lol. I hope you had fun at the con and everything went okay. So these are the brief DMs she had with Cinder. Silver starts off the conversation after accepting her friend request saying, hi. Cinder then replies with, hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon. I guess a lot of us got sick after the last couple parties. I hope you had a good time at your meet and greet. It was nice to see you there. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I'd love to chat more either way. To which Silver replied with, no worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone, lol. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand. So then we go back to Redacted's DMs about Silver, and we realize just how unhinged both he and Cinder were, accusing Silver of copying Cinder with that spinning figure and saying things like, oh, we just want Silver to recognize Cinder because she's a big VTuber, and typing in all caps, and the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up, adding, I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Silver can't get along. Bro, she literally said in the DMs she's just not interested in transactional relationships, and she was as nice as possible. I've already said this multiple times in this video, but man, this is so weird. Silver then continues in her document saying, I had a new Live 2D models in the works for my birthday with Nano, which was eventually canceled. I was devastated, as Nano was the one who originally asked if she could do this model because she was excited to make it with all the new things she had learned, and my birthday was special. At the time, the reason given was health and stress reasons, which made sense given how much was on Nano's plate, and despite my disappointment, expressed my support for her prioritizing her health. I am now aware that the actual reason for her declining to work with me on my birthday model was external pressure from Redacted and Cinder. Words cannot describe how heartbroken I was and am. She then attaches a screenshot of her and Nano in DMs, with Nano saying, Silver, I have to cancel the model commission. I'm sorry, my manager told me I have to cancel the most commissions possible for health reasons. I've been working too hard and it's getting into me. I really apologize for this inconvenience. Silver replies with, I was looking forward to it so much. I love your art so much, and I've been so excited for a new model from you. I understand though. You have to prioritize your health and taking care of yourself. I hope your health improves and you feel better. Make sure to get lots of rest and relaxation. Do you know if you'll be able to do it next year at all? Don't feel pressured or anything, just ask. Nano replies with, I'm sorry, it hurts me a lot too. I just wish I could work on everything I could, but I believe I can still go for your model sometime next year. Yeah. Silver then says, that's okay. I know you have a ton on your plate and can't imagine how stressful it must be. Do you think you can still do GamerSub's tub art? And Nano says, oh yeah, illustrations are okay. And of course, they were only okay in the eyes of Redacted and Cinder, who were manipulating the hell out of her. And here Silver attaches two images that we already saw in Nano's document, and here we can see Redacted was saying, you didn't tell Silver you canceled because of Cinder, did you? What's even crazier here is that this message was completely uncensored too, in which Redacted said, well, let's see if Geary wants a Nano model or not, and hope Silver finds someone else. So this is yet another content creator that was added to this mess that we weren't even aware of. Silver continues, I didn't think much of it at the time, but Cinder messaged me on Discord right before my model was canceled. She celebrated that we shared art, despite the fact that at the same time she and Redacted were actively working to take the potential for more away. Here you can see a private message from Cinder to Silver saying, hey Silver, I just got your GamerSub stuff in the mail and it looks amazing. It's so cute that we both have Nano's art on our merch since she's both our model mama.
Christ.
This is unhinged psychopathic behavior, bro. Does this person
God.
even feel shame? At this point, I don't think so. Silver then ends this document with a section moving forward. Cinder and Redacted have spent years sabotaging me for no understandable reason. I have never done anything to warrant this other than just existing as Silvervale. They actively sought to get my models and art canceled, and based on the messages I have seen and shared above, seem to have not had any second thoughts about doing so. It's hard to express how crushing a feeling it is to be talked about so cruelly and maliciously without my knowing, and to know opportunities and friendships were taken away for what I can only assume is spite and insecurity. There's no end to the amount of anxiety I feel knowing that if these rumors were expressed to Nano, I have to assume they were expressed to others as well. I hope this document and the evidence presented will convince you that I'm not the person that Cinder and Redacted tried to convince me that I am. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope that any and all of the people who have been affected by this can get the closure and peace that they deserve. Yeah,
So
for
we're
the
talking
first time in
about
this video, I'm just glad that Sinder focused on VTubing and not politics, otherwise she would have become the next dictator or something. Make no mistake, this happened because Silvervale had boundaries. This happened because Sinder would not take no for an answer.
That's
this
so
happened
sick.
because she's an unhinged psychopath. With all these different documents and everyone understanding the real nature of who Sinder was, her career was effectively burning to cinders. People were very patiently waiting for a more complete statement. So after losing
You don't
over
want to collab with
10,000
me, I'll
followers
ruin your
and waiting
birthday.
more than 24
True.
hours, she finally just published it 6 minutes ago. My apology. Let's see if this can actually save her career. Sinder starts off by saying, "There's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us publicly, but given that the claims are out there, I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything,
Sinder Docky.
business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing, and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and streams all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving. Guys, right off the bat, it's not looking good. Okay, this is not going to change much if the rest of the apology is looking like this. But anyway, she continues, in regards to Nanolist, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around the work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions, and I should have been more diligent in my oversight. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly and with excitement. From my point of view, it was that she genuinely wanted to be working on these
full
things.
shit.
I wanted to work with Nano as
She's
much
full
as I
shit.
possibly
There's
could,
no
making
way.
her art the face of my brand. We had come to the conclusion that it'd be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. This was wrong for us to push onto her, and it was wrong to the other creators who wanted the chance of working with her. There was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects with, not an entire list. Of her own volition, Nano canceled a large portion of her model commissions last September. However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. Wait, no, this is completely undermining what actually happened. Redacted pressured Nano to not work with Bao, Cotton, Silver, and there was even mention of Geary in there. And let's not forget that more recently, Shy Lily was included in there too. So for Cinder to say Nano canceled these of her own volition is wild, seeing that they manipulated her into doing so. Anyway, she continues, I've always treated Nano with respect, and as my friend, I did give her a lot of work, and we did everything we could to accommodate her schedule if she needed more time or a break, and even helped her with her own project payments multiple times. I've invited her on my stream, I've sent her my merch and things she's made for me, and I was always open to talking to her about things outside of our projects in the instances we would message each other. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. I was only aware of it being about one person who I was unfairly pursuing. When Nano had messaged me about this agreement almost a month later, I was under the impression this was only about Silvervale. I was upset, and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy, but I wasn't going to force Nano to do anything she wasn't okay with, and tried reassuring her that I was okay with her decision. Nano had also never come to me as seriously and professionally as her document was looking to address the issues she had with either of us or to terminate our partnership. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shy Lily recently between Red and Nano until reading her document. It's true, I had confided in Red that lately I hadn't been hearing from
There's
Lily
no
like I had in the
fucking
past, and I was
way.
worried something was wrong, but that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more info. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another.
There
one of
is
my friends.
zero
Here,
way
I
she
do not
wasn't
condone anything about
involved
what
in
Red
this
said
in
about
some
Bao and these DMs
situations.
either, and him
There's
using
no
me and
way.
Bao in this context is abhorrently incorrect, and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. Yes, Red and I were initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. I felt as if maybe my content wasn't good enough or like I wasn't paying enough for his work, but I accepted it and was happy for him for getting that bag and supporting one of my friends at the same time. I don't know, at this point, these things are very hard to believe. If she confided in Red,
Pushing
how
all the
pissed
blame
she
on
was,
others,
she's
yep.
admitting that yes, she was pissed and she confided in Red. Red then used this information to add them to the blacklist. But regardless, those feelings are not things you're meant to feel towards friends. Anyway, she continues and she says, and yes, I was also upset when Sack, the Boss Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future project with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red
One
got
second, Techie's calling me. Yo, you're on stream.
Up,
You're on stream. What up?
Shinya,
What up?
we doing?
Going over the Musion VTuber drama video.
Oh, how far you at?
An hour and 21 minutes.
Oh, what you think so far?
I think Cinder's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, but she's hot though.
True! We should absolve her of all of her sin then.
Yeah, she's a hot female. So just
She's
go ahead
hot
and
and she
forgive
got
her.
big boobs, so she could do no wrong.
Yeah, big boobs. LOL.
Yup. What are you up to?
Yeah, I'll be real. Like complete unbullshit, right?
Uh-huh.
For me,
Yeah.
I really don't care. Like, okay, I care a fair bit, but like,
Uh-huh.
I know how many streamers try to fuck over other streamers, even if they're friends.
Oh, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. I like 90% of content creators are like this.
They're just shitty fucking people.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be a little bit of a shitty person to be a content creator.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you know, and obviously I don't want to talk about this publicly, but you know how many people have tried to fuck me over.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing with me is definitely just the cheating.
The cheating is probably one of the worst parts, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's shitty, like betraying people's friendships and stuff like that, and like trying to fuck with their careers. I think is it's not as bad as cheating, but it's pretty big up there, because like ultimately she's trying to negatively affect their careers to bolster her career, right? Like imagine, okay, here I'll give you a perfect example, right? Perfect example, and we can relate to this because it's a real life situation. Imagine me cheering on that you got banned because I know I would have a higher than normal CCV for a few days. That would be like that type of situation, right? You would say I'm a kind of a shitty person for like wanting that, right?
Well, my problem is that like I'm like kind of like deranged, and I'd probably laugh at it because like I'm like used to having shitty friends.
Yeah, but that's not.
You know that's so true with the friends I have.
Oh, sure. But that's not the norm. Like you shouldn't be happy about that. Like if
you know
someone.
What's crazy? Maybe that's why so many people fuck me. Is I'm just like down to be friends with just like complete shitheads.
I mean, yeah, it's like the situations where it's like, you know how like women like date like shitheads all the time, and they always bitch about them and complain about them.
Squirrel on the bird. They're eating the fucking food. Look at this fat fuck.
Look at
this fucking squirrel. Look at this fatty. What
are you saying?
No, there's a fucking squirrel in our birdhouse eating the food.
No, kill him.
Yeah, we put on a fucking squirrel block so they can't climb up the pole, but now they just jump off the tree on top of the tower now.
Yeah, didn't you see that Mark Rober video?
I did.
Yeah.
This shit was fire.
They're gonna do anything to get to that food.
Hey, do you know if I left my wallet in your car?
I will check. I don't think so, but I'll look around.
Yeah, no rush, of course. Just next time you go, I'm just like, did he leave his wallet?
Yeah. I know a couple days ago, I don't know if you remember this, but you left your underwear and your socks in my car. That was cool.
After we
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, the worst part is your underwear was like soaking wet too. And I didn't realize it until like
that happens.
I didn't realize it until like a day later, so it was like stewing in my car for like an entire day, and it made it smell like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, well anyways. Are you working today or no?
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro, I'm bored, dude.
I know. I'll try to wrap up work quick.
I'm taking the day off because my friends are concerned about me because I've streamed every day for like fucking 18 days.
Oh no.
I don't even know how that happens, bro. Like, I swear to God, I was like not even streaming that hard.
No, you've been streaming ridiculously. Well, you did like 8 hours yesterday too, didn't you? You fucking went hard.
That's true. That's true.
Literally.
Yeah, what's chat saying? Is chat saying why techie gay sex or not?
They are. They're saying why techie gay sex, why techie gay sex, why chin ass. Yeah, they are.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that was it.
Yeah, for sure.
That was still going on. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to keep myself entertained.
All right, well, I'll hit you up later, and we'll see about doing something.
All right, cool, peace.
All right, later. So when I say he left his underwear in my car, I wasn't lying. He legitimately left his underwear and socks in my car. Yeah, but anyway, shit. Let's jump back into this.
Got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened and seemingly held a grudge against her for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it, but he told me about a music video editor as talented as Sack. The future projects wouldn't reach the same heights, so he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never speaking with Bao about these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to. Every comment here about her own music, guilt-tripping, and claims about our shared feelings towards her are disgusting, and I honestly don't know why you thought this way about my close friend beyond the resentment over those two things or why it was worth sabotaging her over. Like, again, if you had the time to confide how pissed you were about this to Red, you could have messaged Bao to clear things up. Assuming you had no idea what Red did, it's still kind of a problem that you didn't want to clear this up in one DM. She goes on to say, the "it's just business" screenshot of my DMs with Nano's document was from November of 2023, and I'll go into my thought process of everything I said here. What Red was trying to explain to Nano is that if everyone has a model by her, then the innate value of her models overall are
no shit. We know what he meant.
Out there. If everyone in the world had a VTuber model done by her, then the value of having her model would be the same as if there were only a handful of them, which he viewed as a negative for me. I understand where he was coming from with this, but in the VTuber space, this isn't something we should have pursued, so I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on at their debuts and looking to collab with them as sisters when I could. Oh, you mean how you met up with Silver at TwitchCon, cheered that you guys guys are both wolf sisters and then stabbed her in the back? Yeah, that makes sense. She continues and says, me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decisions, whether she chose to work with me or not.
No, it's not.
Model being canceled.
No, it's not.
She chooses not to work with me. I can understand where the next
part
is but my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point, since at this time I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would stop working together as frequently as we had been, and I'd have to look for a new model artist. I then encouraged her to work on projects she's excited about while I talk with Red to find a project that would work with her schedule. That's definitely looking at things with the perspective of best case scenario. Like, I want to believe that's the case, but how Red was talking, it just makes it very hard to believe. She continues, when talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Sinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to take my cherry blossom persona Tashi and make her a pink and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of that same year, Silvervale revealed her Sakura wolf redesign. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all.
Oh,
I knew we had to pivot before we were stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at the time. Like I've explained many times on my stream, I knew I wanted to be a wolf girl, so I mixed my love of Okami and metal music into the design and came out with a Hellhound. My name was originally going to be Ember, but Red came up with the name Sinder since it was a mix of Sin and Cinder, both hell and fire themed. It was only a coincidence that it ended up being similar to Silver. I was genuinely interested in pursuing a friendship with her and drew fan art myself of us together. See, that would be considered wholesome, but then teeters on the borderline of being a stalker when we know how hard she tried to be friends with her and then ended up backstabbing her. She continues, on the other hand, Red was in my ear the whole time saying how great working together would be, since again, he's been the business-oriented side of my brand. Since I started streaming, I have been ruthlessly compared to Silvervale, being called the discount version of her. I was accused of copying her design, copying her personality, and even copying her laugh of all things. And there was a large number of people who were diehard believers in the fact that I stole all of these attributes maliciously for my own gain, citing the art I posted of us together, calling her an inspiration. When in reality, this was referring to the decision to become a Hellhound. The only time Silvervale was mentioned in the original designing of my character was when we explained why we were pivoting to something else, and there were no references of her character involved. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup, and other incidents, even though she herself never interacted with me directly. And it was also that fact that made me insecure, like I wanted to know if she believed all these things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in the same space. So at the point I was working with Nano consistently, we brought up not making any more models for her. If a VTuber model is how everyone recognizes you, then it'd be harder to compare us directly if we no longer look alike or have that shared similarity. It was a wrong and selfish decision, but it made me feel better, and that's why it was a constant topic with Nano. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did because he knew how it affected me for years, but no matter what the outcome was, I wasn't going to walk away from working with Nano. Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it was my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I became unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct action of her own. There's no excuse for any of this. It's interesting, right? Because that's exactly how she made Spite feel. And even though that was the case, she never went out publicly to say, hey guys, stop harassing her. This idea of a VTuber copying another has been a problem in the VTubing sphere for a long time, and that's the community's fault. But I personally don't like how often Sinder is throwing Red under the bus. Even here, saying Red pushed for this harder than I ever did. Yeah, so what? You were aware of this, and you were pushing it in DMs with Nano too, so it doesn't matter whether he did or not. Like, I wonder, we're not even halfway through. Is she still gonna push this narrative that Red was doing the majority of this, and I was on the sidelines, but I'm still sorry? It's like, no, no, you were very much aware. She continues, moving on from Silvervale, let me talk about Spite. Once again, I had no involvement or knowledge of Red bringing up Spite to Nano in 2023. My only personal involvement with excluding someone specific from working with Nano was Silver. My design sheet and outfit were finished and made public at the very start of 2021. The first thing she mentions is a debut teaser in 2022 that was apparently posted on the same day as her original debut, which I honestly don't know if at the time this was intentional or not. I don't know when I first discovered Spite, and it could have been after she debuted. When I first debuted, I was very possessive of my design details. I had made it a year and a half since my design sheet was finished and public to having a full VTuber debut as I watched everything grow and change from the sidelines, and I didn't want anyone else to capitalize on my concept before I could. Soon after my original debut, I remember Spite getting an update to her model that made it seem like she more closely resembled me, including fire added to her model. Without evidence, I saw it and thought she must have copied me, but I never did anything about it other than voice my frustrations to Red. I didn't want to start drama with anyone, and I didn't have ownership over fire as a design detail. The references for the ripped shirt and shorts outfit on my bikini model was given to Nano in June of 2022 with the purpose of having a cover-up outfit that would be safe for Twitch. The merch art she's referring to was designed around my concept of fire changing blue. The fact that the rest of the art was grayscale was the artist's choice since it was going onto the back of a hoodie and I didn't have a say, or at least I didn't counter that being the final decision. There was no intention to deliberately look like Spite with this piece. Unfortunately, both my Angel and Sleepy outfits being similar to outfits Spite has done in the past was just a coincidence. I had always planned to one day make an Angel counterpart to the outfit when it was being made in 2023, and my original ref sheet laid the groundwork.
Even though she has no receipts. Yeah, where the fuck are the receipts? There hasn't been a single fucking receipt of anything. Meanwhile, everyone else has receipts.
3.0 model because I had the opportunity to work with gamer subs on an AFK flavor. Spite never should have received the hate comments over her outfit or any comments comparing us or belittling her because of my existence, and I never advocated for anyone to do so, especially given my experience. In regards to Spite, I'll let you decide. Was it a coincidence that so many outfits matched each other? And is it a coincidence that every time Sinder complained about anything to Red, he would make it personal?
So where are the receipts then? Where are the fucking receipts?
Brought up another creator who reached out to her about their experience with me, and I can only assume it's Ninetales. They are an ASMR artist who at one point posted a Hellhound original character for one of their upcoming ASMR videos, and it was undoubtedly created using me as a reference. This was right after my debut, and like I said, I was very protective of my design elements being unique to me, and I overreacted. Shortly after, I apologized, and they agreed to adjust the character design, and I thought the matter was settled. At the very start of my online career, I was a girlfriend experienced ASMR artist.
Wait, Sinder was in GFE ASMR? Wait, I didn't realize she was GFE. Dude, GFE, I'm gonna keep it a buck. GFE is so fucking predatory. Tashi, I know she was Tashi, but I didn't know she was GFE. Girlfriend experience lost. So she would make ASMR of like pretending to be your girlfriend and like whispering positive affirmations to, and oh, I love you so much, my boyfriend. Oh, you're my favorite person ever. Oh, I love you. How do you know? It's just weird. It's weird. It's predatory. It takes advantage of lonely men. I think the loneliness male epidemic has been exacerbated by shit like that, like OnlyFans and Fansly for the past 6 to 7 years. He loves me. No. No, I think GFE is gross. I think it's gross, and it takes advantage of lonely people who are already in a really shitty situation, in a really shitty like state of mind. Probably how she could be fake so easily. True. Yeah, but that's rather here nor there.
Before I started my channel, I had gotten into listening to roleplay audios myself. I had always been a shut-in throughout high school and college, and I wasn't happy with where my life and relationship were at the time. After uploading my first few audios, my channel started growing fast. This was the first time I was inundated with so many people wanting to know me and talk to me, and
When
I
you're
got lost
making
in the
yours?
excitement of it all, not fully coming to terms with these messages being because of the kind of content I was making. I was immature and inexperienced with how to conduct myself online. I have never had many IRL friends and had met Rain doing ASMR. I quickly became comfortable chatting with him about everything, divulging my grievances about my personal life when I shouldn't have. I cheated on my boyfriend with Rain in these conversations, flirting and sexting. I used Rain for emotional comfort and sexual fantasy while I let my real-life relationship collapse. It was about my
she admits
dissatisfaction
it.
with my personal life and escaping.
I didn't
into
realize
messages
she
with someone
admits
else
it.
where I found
Okay.
the content focused
Interesting.
around girlfriend and boyfriend RP. It was never about climbing the ladder with Rain, and I find that being his takeaway from why I moved on baffling. By the time I was ready to debut as Sinder, I wanted to leave that in the past. Still, to this day, I regret my decisions and have been living with it since, and I was lucky to be able to mend my relationship after this. So she confirmed, she cheated, and Red was fully aware, at least as far as we know. Yeah, maybe Rain did have the wrong conclusion here. Maybe she actually
But it
moved
would
on
be
because she
fire.
wanted to leave this part of her life behind.
Like, don't get me wrong. I respect people doing ASMR. I really do. But like GFE sort of shit kind of just is like a little scummy. You can do your audios, do your not safe for work audios. I'm fine with that. But when you really like lean into like the girlfriend boyfriend experience, and it's like you're really just like taking advantage of people who are just lonely and sad. Especially when you start like paywalling things and like making like profit off of it. I think making profit off of like people who are like in the low of the low, especially with gacha, right? Gacha is the same thing, like gambling. I think it's just really scummy behavior. That's just a personal opinion of mine. I may not necessarily be right or wrong, but that kind of stuff is just really really icky to me.
Sure, but did she cheat? Yeah. She then continues and says, and lastly, I want to address Peaches. This is a very big problem I have, and I'm sure many others in my position do too. At the end of the day, I am one person. I am one person working on multiple projects with multiple companies, talking to dozens of people, and streaming for hours almost every day.
You just call
I've
that
never
most
had a big social
VTubers
battery,
and
I get
Twitch
tired very
streamers in
easily when
general.
interacting with people. I haven't had much energy at all over the past year, leading
I wouldn't
to taking
say
frequent naps.
most.
I've rarely been able to keep up with my
I wouldn't say
closest
most
friends
Twitch
on a frequent
streamers,
basis, let
but
alone everyone
most
else. Red has
VTubers,
always been a
yes.
big help in keeping up with things, but he doesn't do everything. I'm so sorry I made you feel forgotten, Peaches. I've always cherished your friendship, and I was so incredibly excited to meet you in pairs. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, and I've never thought to purposefully drop you just because I could. I'm sorry, I know I've made a lot of people feel forgotten or ignored. It's so easy to get caught up in projects or what I'm doing while I have
Isn't
nothing
it
to do.
two-sided
People
blades?
fall by
Some
the
get
wayside. I
comfort,
understand
some
the
get
feelings of those who are
parasocial. I
genuine with
think
this, and all I can say
more
is I'm
people
sorry.
get
I don't deserve
parasocial. The thing is like getting comfort from it is fine, but I think once you start really like playing into, oh, I'm your internet girlfriend, I'm, we're dating, stuff like that. I think you're literally taking advantage of people in a very vulnerable and a very like kind of like shitty spot in their life. I don't know. Like, I see the comfort side of it, but also it's like just still
to be able to contact everyone involved directly to personally apologize, so I'll do it here in the chance they read it. So before we get into the individual apologies, I just want to clarify, Peaches means Van Peaches. This is the same
Sandy
VTuber who called her out for
announced
having a
another
boyfriend and trying to
graduation
hide
today.
it from her,
Yikes.
as if they didn't know each other. Now let's get into the individual apologies, starting with 2 Nano. I'm sorry I let things
Kevin
get to this
Ceases
point,
would
even
be
entertain the thought
way
of you
better.
working
It wouldn't have
exclusively
even
with me.
been
That's not fair
better.
to you. I wouldn't be here without
It would
you,
have been
and I'm able to do
okay,
most of
but
what
it's
I've already
still
done
pretty
without you. I
shitty.
felt overly attached to our relationship over the past 4 years and loved your work so much that I wanted to make myself exclusive to your art and should have never sought those feelings to be reciprocated. Everything you've ever worked on for me was always so perfect, and I lost sight of how everyone else around me would have felt. I had no intentions of pressuring you into anything, but looking back on my cloud of judgment, I can see how my messages felt that way. When I talked about how my models helped you improve, I meant that as looking back on how far we've come together. We've been friends for so long and cheered each other on when we both started growing and getting more opportunities like plushies, figures, etc. You had been my exclusive artist
Also,
for full life
listening
to
to
be model for the
Shinya
majority of my time as
being
a
my
VTuber, and of
boss,
course,
and
I would
bro,
be sad if you didn't
we're
want to
still
continue that
explaining why
relationship.
Tech
In all
was
of our
innocent and
DMs,
is
I was okay
banning.
with you
Bro's
ultimately doing
yapping
what's
in my
best for
dream.
yourself.
Hell
I saw
yeah.
you as someone I trusted and loved and wanted to make sure you were still taking care of yourself with all the projects you took on.
All I heard is
Otherwise,
Red
I never
maybe,
saw
Red
you as just a
manipulated me.
business
Yep.
partner. I thought I was reassuring you that I'd always be
Agreed.
understanding if you wanted to move on to other projects. I genuinely appreciated our friendship. I always saw you as a close friend, and I'm sorry for what I put you through. To Bao, since the start, I've always admired you and how genuine you've always been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you either. I'm disgusted with myself for buying into the narrative that my friends were competition. I've never had such genuine friendships in my life, especially with you. We've gotten to know each other so well online and in person. You've already been through so much, and the last thing I'd want to do is cause more harm. Well, that's a bit too late. But I did. I'm sorry for not reaching out sooner about these ideas that were put into my head. I wish we would have been able to talk about this too. I didn't know about the severity of things that have been said and theorized about my own friends behind my back until now. It's my fault for not realizing the things Red was saying about you. The countless
I'm doing well,
friendships I've made
Blink.
here over the last
Thank
several
you.
years
Yo,
mean so much more to me
Sword.
than him and the
Oh,
business.
Sword, thank you so much
Wait,
for the
did
tier
you say
1. Appreciate the fuck
countless
out of you, man.
friendships I've made here
Thank
within
you,
the last
thank you,
several
thank
years
you.
mean so much more to me than him and the business side of things? Like the friendships mean more to you than
Has
your
Red
boyfriend?
put anything out? No.
Did you just write this like in a non-clear way? Anyway, And no amount of popularity or money means more to me than the relationships I've built in this community. I've always been myself, whether that be on stream or in person, and I hope the friends I make can understand I'd never condone this behavior or any of the things that were said about my friends. I've always wanted everyone around me to thrive and find happiness. I can't stress enough how disappointed I am that I didn't see this sooner until it got to a breaking point. I'm sorry, bow. After
All
these
the docs that were
different
provided
people,
is
their
like after
perspectives,
this.
their points
Yep.
of views. Is there a single
Agreed.
word that you believe in this paragraph? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have Tasak. I love getting to chat with you in person and absolutely loved all the hard work you put into the Boss Rush song. I was so grateful to hear you were on board to edit the music video. I don't remember exactly why the stream got pushed back, but I definitely wouldn't have put the blame on you knowing about how soon the deadline was when you started working on it. I was so thankful for your willingness to complete the project despite everything, and the quality of how it turned out was incredible. I can't believe how Red talked about you, especially after all the effort you put in for me. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened. Next up, we have Tectone and Shy Lily. They don't get individual apologies, they got grouped up together. Anyway, she says, I'm so sorry you had to get dragged into this. It's my fault I let it get this far, but I hope you can believe me when I say I had no knowledge of Red bringing you up in Nano's DMs. I just learned about all this myself, and there can have been so many other friends affected by the narrative that things always
Like
have to
eating
be better.
ASMR,
If
I
knew
don't
Red
eat
was
as
trying to
much,
exclude
that's
specific
fair.
friends in this exclusivity deal, I would have spoken up. None of my friendships are worth sacrificing over an art piece. I love being your friend and all the memories we've shared, and I hope someday you can forgive me for allowing this to happen. Next up, we have To Silver. Since the start, I loved that I saw someone else sharing so many similar interests to me, and I thought maybe someday we could talk about it all and be good friends. I was blinded by all these hate comments around me calling me your lesser half. I hate the person I've become towards you. I tried reaching out some time ago to try to
Disgusting.
start up a friendly conversation to change things and make things right, say hi to you at conventions and support your endeavors, but despite all that, I was still being eaten alive by my own doubts and fear or harassment. I was pressured by the community as a whole to try reaching out to collaborate since I got these messages so often comparing us, and I hoped we could work something out. The photo of me at the meet and greet was taken candidly, and I thought it looked cute, and I posted it without asking you, which was wrong of me. I was so wrong for letting everyone get in my head about all these malicious feelings. I'm so sorry for
Dude,
any
she's
opportunity
just
that I've taken away
blaming
from you. I'm sorry,
everyone
sir.
else.
Then we have the shortest apology in the entire document. Despite, I'm sorry I had assumed things about your design that weren't true, and I'm sorry you've been harassed by commenters needing to compare us. And I apologize for the way Red spoke about you to Nano. You didn't deserve any of this spite. I'm sorry. Next up, we have Van Peaches. Two Peaches. I'm sorry if I made it seem like I was ignoring or ghosting you. I was so happy we had the opportunity to meet in person, and I was apologetic with how busy things were for me at the time. I wanted to spend more time with you, but as I got more and more DMs and messages, everything became so overwhelming. I've always had a low social battery, and that made it so hard for me to keep up to date with all my friends. I've never had any ill feelings towards you, and I still don't. Next up, we have Rain. To Rain. You were the first person I met as an ASMR artist during a time where I was immature and vulnerable. I ended up being consumed by the content I was making, and it led me to making awful decisions I still think about and regret. I was not in a good spot at the time. I've hated myself for this kind of behavior, and it took a long time for me to move on from what happened. I have no excuses. I'm sorry you were dragged into my drama, and I'm sorry how I made you feel after I just wanted to close the book on things. And finally, she says, I'm sorry to my pyro pups and my mods for expecting me to lead a better example than this. I'm sorry to the VTuber community for looking towards me as someone to aspire to. I'm sorry to Kaiser, who's put his heart and soul into everything he's ever done for me and not even talking to you about how I felt. I'm sorry to the dozens of artists that have put their hard work into me, and I'm sorry to the rest of my friends who I've let down. I've led a bad example, and I don't expect forgiveness. I've made many mistakes over my 5 years on the internet, and I'm only one person living the one life I get for the first time.
Well, the
in
young
time,
and
like everyone
stupid
else.
card,
As I
yeah.
said at the start, I ended up developing an extremely unhealthy work-life balance, and the harm Red has caused with the way he viewed things is irreparable. The way I've been perceiving things lately is not how I want to view the world moving forward, and this goes to show there's a lot I need to address and improve if I'm going to continue being a creator. I'm devastated that the friendships
What
so
a
special
dog
to me may
response.
understandably never
What
be
a
made again.
dog
I
shit
love my job, and I
response,
love all the
man.
friends I've had. Thank you for reading. Signed, Sinder. Woo, what a read. My voice is almost gone. What did I get out of this? Well, it was kind of what I was expecting. There's nothing she can really say that can repair what happened.
Yep.
Sure, Redacted was her manager. He was doing the talking for her. And
One
even
of her
if we were to
mods
believe her
quit?
and give her the
Good.
benefit of the doubt, 100%. We still have proof, and she admitted that she was purposefully targeting Silver. All of this was also happening over the last couple of years, maybe even a bit longer.
Isn't this,
isn't just about her not
provoking
being
Red?
aware and Red being the guy who did all of this by himself. This is about how she's the boss, Red is her manager, and in any other industry, this
No,
would be
I think-
considered
I think Red
gross
and her are still
negligence.
together.
Just imagine with me for a second. If Nano didn't make her document, then how long would this have carried on? I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's actually very easy to shut down all her excuses. She was there when Bao showed her the model that Nano was working on. Throughout this entire document, she kept saying how Nano was more than just an artist. She was her friend. She loved her. When Bao vented to her and her friends in the group chat that the model was canceled,
Some
a true
messages
friend
from
would have messaged
earlier
Nano,
this year.
asked what was going on. A true friend would have reassured Bao, seen how they could help, but she didn't do any of this
Yeah,
as if she was already
yeah.
planning it to begin with. And guess what? She was.
They
Throwing your
locked her
boyfriend
Discord
under the bus
channel
for
as one of the
everything
mods
is
and
just
announced that
not
they're
going to
quitting.
cut.
That's
Other
awesome.
VTubers, especially the ones mentioned in the
Oh,
document, thought
yeah.
the same thing. So they made sure to publicly reply. When she saw her response, Bao replied almost immediately saying, How? How can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness
One
over Nano
second,
suddenly
guys.
canceling my model after we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging. And to now find out that just the day before I shared my sadness, this is the conversation that happened that ruined months of debut prep, planning, merch preparation. If you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. Bao attaching the two screenshots we already saw in Nano's document and a new screenshot showing the group chat where she vented about Nano dropping her. It's just not adding up. This apology is only making things worse and even weirder for Sinder. Shy Lily replied to this apology, and here's what she had to say. The absolute audacity to sit here and continue to manipulate and gaslight is absolute insanity. The pain and mental torment you've caused to the ones closest and most supportive of you has been devastating, and I have never been so heartbroken and hurt so badly for my friends. You are the fakest person I've ever had the displeasure of supporting, reading, and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back, not just through screenshots of your man, but also your very own
is
messages,
going
while having to
in.
sit here and read through these bullshit lies you spin makes me want to vomit. To claim that you didn't know
Holy.
a single thing and had zero awareness of what your man was up to, and everyone who shared even a single moment with you knows that you basically operate as the same person,
love
sharing
Oli.
every waking
Oh
moment while
my
willing to jump at
God.
the slightest opportunity to turn into your most slanderous self as soon as the opportunity was given, even when talking about your friends is sickening. I've experienced your own actions.
She
without
ulted?
knowing.
Yeah,
Despite
she
your own
did.
Screenshotted words, you express a pressure to live up to what Lily is, and proceed to throw
Holy.
one of your most loyal and supportive friends under the bus after months of continuous planning just because you consistently chose business over friends and never feeling bad for failing them. Just to earn the bag and compete with me over a V-Card collab that you rescheduled to be on the exact date your friend needed you to keep an important promise. You actively lied about it to them, instead blaming me
That's
for a collab you
nuts.
rescheduled, adding me to the pool of excuses to save your ass when you realized you were being a bad friend. Why blame me for choosing to miss an
That's really
obligation
crazy.
you
It's
agreed to on one of the most
nuts.
important days in that friend's career. Everything you do is out of competition through your constant need to one-up people who are the sole reason you even have these opportunities.
Solo leveling, she is solo leveling. She is Sun Jin-woo.
Well, in the business world, there has to be accountability, and all you've done is try to shove it away and admit nothing. In true narcissistic fashion, you're only feeling sorry about yourself and your own consequences in your career and try to salvage it. I'm sorry for everyone who looked up to you as an inspiration, and I'm especially sorry for your fans. Pyropups deserve better. Wow. You know, Shy Lily typically avoids drama. Even when there's her name involved, she avoids it. She never gives it any attention. But this time, not only did she have something to say, she gave out a career-ending statement.
Yeah,
Speaking of career-ending, Cinder's post has almost as many comments as likes, with many people expressing their discontent. The most liked reply here is Buff Pup saying, "Dude, f off." And as you can see, some of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet are here, saying how disappointed they are.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Not in the slightest convinced by anything in this quote-unquote apology of hers. It's a disaster. But you would be gravely mistaken if you thought this was the end. No, this incident is the gift that keeps on giving. Aru, the literal ass behind the Invisible Woman in Marvel Rivals.
Who's Aru?
I'm not even kidding. They actually use her as reference. But more importantly, she's a streamer and content creator who used to be a VTuber and is on friendly terms with Silvervale.
I don't know who this
she
is.
revealed to us after Cinder's catastrophic apology that her weird obsessive/stalker behavior towards Silvervale didn't start in 2023. This went on for way longer, and she tried to use Aru to get to her. Here's what she had to say in her statement. "I hadn't planned on tweeting anything about this until I saw Cinder's apology. While I wasn't hurt to the extent others were, it's clear now that I was lied to and used, not treated as a friend, but as a tool. I first met Cinder during a Twitch Rivals tournament and really looked up to her. We hit it off, messaged a lot, and got even closer at TwitchCon 2022, where I spent most of the day with her in red. At one point, she noticed I was mutuals with Silvervale, someone I admired since meeting her at PAX, and asked if I could
This
introduce
tweet is
her. I
over
thought she was just a fan
100K.
like I was.
Holy
Cinder invited me
fuck.
to go with her to Silvervale's meet and greet, and it meant a lot to me. As someone who didn't grow up with many social invitations due to being homeschooled in a foreign country, that gesture felt special. But looking back, I realized she only invited me because she thought I could give her access to Silvervale. After I introduced them, Cinder pushed me to Silvervale for a collab. I'm someone who rarely initiates collabs. I prefer to build friendships off stream first or let things happen naturally. Still, I went out of my comfort zone to help because I believe she genuinely admired Silvervale. Now I know that wasn't true. And realizing she actually harbored resentment the whole time she felt completely used. I wasn't a person to her, just a connection. I did message Silvervale about the collab the first time, but when Cinder followed up again, I brushed it off because I didn't want to pressure her. Over time, I started noticing that Cinder didn't treat me like a real friend, more like a means to an end. Sometimes she made it clear IRL that she didn't even like me, and I can't help but think it's because I didn't push harder for the collab. By 2023, our interactions had nearly stopped. Still, I tried to keep things friendly in DM/IRL because I didn't know how to stand up for myself or set boundaries. Don't worry, even if you set boundaries, she would have still found a way to backstab you, right?
True.
Look at Silvervale. Anyway, she continues, that's changed now for obvious reasons. It's hard to say, but Cinder's apology doesn't feel genuine, especially not towards Silvervale. The truth is, Cinder isn't the only one who makes others in the space feel used or small. People like her, Yaki, and others made me feel that the best choice for myself was to step away from VTubing entirely and made me afraid to build new connections. But as I said yesterday, there are good people in this space, and they're the ones worth holding on to. Don't let the bad ones stop you from being your genuine self. To my community, I think I'd like to try coming back to VTubing. When we talked about it last night, hearing how much all of you love the VTubing streams honestly hit me hard. It made me sad to realize I gave up on something I love just because of the shitty, awful people who poisoned the space for me. To the friends I pulled away from because I was trying to protect my peace, I'm sorry. I'd love the chance to reconnect and rebuild those friendships. I started VTubing because I believed in the joy and creativity of this community. It's heartbreaking to see that spirit dimmed by people who take advantage of others' kindness, hold them accountable, call it out. What I went through wasn't nearly as intense as what Nanolith experienced, but I do understand how hard it is to say no to a friend, especially when they make you feel like you're the only one who can help. I truly hope everyone affected by Cinder can heal and move forward, and I'm sorry for any negativity the situation has brought up from my side as well. She then links 3 different images of DMs between her and Cinder. The first image is from 2022, and it's Cinder starting off the conversation saying, "Would you want to come meet Silvervale with me at 2:30 p.m.?" Aru then says, "Of course, I'll go with you," to which Cinder says, "I'm just really nervous, and I think I remember you meeting her before." Dude, she is so sneaky. Aru then says, "Yes, I've met her. Oh my god, she's so nice, don't worry." To which Cinder said,
No
"You're the best, oh my God."
fucking
Aru said,
way.
"That's you. What time do you want to meet up?" Cinder said, "Whenever you're free," and Aru said, "Okay, I'll be free in 10. In the next image, a few days have passed, and it's Cinder saying, "Were you still thinking about messaging Silvervale about a Wolf Girl chat? I'm not sure if she'd really want to, but I'd love to do more with you anyway. We should plan our spooky collab when we've recovered from this weekend." Aru then says, "Yes, let me message her and ask if that's okay." Yes, I agree, let's plan something." Cinder then says, "We can wait a bit if you're still recovering, but if you had a day/time in mind, just let me know. My schedule's pretty open right now. I know I'm pooped from this weekend, but I want to do lots with my friends still," to which Aru said, "Sounds like she would be down to play games together once her schedule clears up." In the third image, we see DMs between Aru and Silvervale, with Silver saying, "Hi, it was amazing seeing you too." Aru then says, "I was wondering if you'd ever be down to play some games off stream if had time. Totally understandable if you're too busy though. Cinder and I were just talking about how fun it would be to have a canine night." Cinder was the hellhound that was with me at the meet and greet. Silvervale then said, "That would be a ton of fun. I've been really busy lately with the con prep and stuff, but things have been calming down lately." There's also a fourth image, so it wasn't just 3, and these are DMs with Cinder and Aru around a couple weeks after the initial meetup, and it's Cinder saying, "Hey Aru, have you heard from Silvervale about doing a
Oh
Wolfie
my
collab with us?" To which Aru
God.
said, "Let me message her right now." So hey, yet another person that Cinder manipulated and used. What a surprise. Bear in mind that a year later she would go on to also show up to her meet and greet and tell her mythic manager to message her on her behalf. I'm telling you, the people involved here need to get a restraining order on Cinder. This is ridiculous. Shortly after this disastrous apology, Bao went live to talk about it, and look, it was very emotional. Here's what she had to say. I'll let her do the talking.
What I would have done if I was in their shoes, I can't understand. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. We had been through so much offline
Poor girl.
and online, and there's nothing more confusing and more painful than seeing
Oh
someone in your
God.
friend group be so kind and so warm to everyone around you, and feeling
This was her an hour? Jesus
that they have
Christ.
slowly become colder and colder towards you, and not knowing what you did or if it's your imagination. But because everyone loves them, you don't know if you want to say anything.
That's
So you
fucking
keep it
wild.
to yourself, and you keep hoping it's your imagination. But then the cruel realization hits that it wasn't. And It's even more worse than you could have ever imagined.
Damn.
So yeah, it's definitely a very hard watch. Look, to the average person, this is just another drama, but to these people like Bao and Cotton and Silver and so many more, this is real life. This is someone they've known for years and genuinely thought that they were close and they were friends and they tried their best to treat Sinder like a precious person, not just a content creator or a VTuber. This is not something they'll just get over, right? They need therapy. They need psychiatric help. This is trauma. It's very hard to trust someone after something like this. As I've already mentioned, this didn't happen overnight. This was a multi-year operation from both Sinder and Redacted to backstab her friends. And she only apologized because she got caught. That is it. And people won't be forgetting about it anytime soon. But the question on everyone's minds is no doubt, is this the end of Sinder? Well, not necessarily. She might have burned every possible bridge in the VTuber community, but that doesn't mean she won't have viewers. She's an absolute psychopath that can't be trusted, but hey, other creators have done worse things and they still have a career. She will just never be able to reach the same level she had before this controversy, that's for certain. And in the end, controversies like these only serve to hurt gamer subs even further. She's a partial owner. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped her. Anyway, that's the entire drama. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but just because you made it until the end, you get the reward of seeing what 4chan has to say about it. That's right, 4chan is back, baby. It was hacked, but now it's back. Let's see what they think of this drama in the mega thread. All right, this is it. Let's see what the top comment has to say. That's great and all, but I don't care whatsoever. I just want to f Sinder's tit.
Oh my!
Right, guys, thanks so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate.
Holy moly, guys, go give Muujin's video a like and give him a sub. I'm subbed to him on my other channel, but we're subbed to him here on the main channel as well. Crazy good video, Muujin. Based. I mean, the only thing else I have to say about that is Pyropups. Pyropups. It truly is over. It truly is over, Pyropups. It's over. It's over. Pyropups, it is over. I'm so sorry, Pyropups, but it is officially over. Sinder. Sinder. It is over. You lied, you cheated, you manipulated others, and it is time for you to rest. It is over, Sinder. It is over. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below.